Okay, and can everyone, people who are listening right now on X, can you let me, not X, on YouTube, can you guys hear me on YouTube? Oh, let me send you the co-host. Can you hear me, Judge? Can you hear me, Judge? Hello? Can you hear? You must got the headsets on. You're muted.
I can't unmute.
No, you unmuted now.
I can't unmute.
You are not. Oh my God, you just muted yourself. You were just unmuted and you just muted yourself. You were just talking. We just heard you. And now you on mute. You muted yourself, took yourself off mute. Now you put yourself back on mute. I cannot. You muted already, and then you muted yourself. Now you're fine. Just don't touch nothing.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm showing I'm muted. My thing is showing the slash through the pink mic. It's showing mic is off.
Can you guys hear the judge? Just put a thumbs up in an X space. Thank you, Derek.
Okay, well, it's just showing my controls are inoperable.
You need a new phone, and I don't understand.
No, I'm just saying on what. In other words, it's not on the phone. It's on the X space. It's showing that my mic is off, even though apparently it's on. But right now, it's got the line drawn through the red pink mic at the bottom. So I don't know what this is. I hit it and I thought I was trying to unmute, but apparently I'm muting when I do hit it. It's just showing inoperative controls. Let me duck out and come back in and see what happens.
Okay. So guys, this is open mic from 9 to 12 a.m. I stopped putting one singular title or two titles and just have it to be multiple discussions, right? So, okay, wait, here he goes. I did put hashtags if anybody want to reference the hashtags. Tomorrow is Juneteenth. I'm about to send you a co-host invite. And Trump, he did do a rally in Wisconsin, and he was in Detroit over the weekend. And I believe Joe Biden is trying to spearhead or speed up amnesty for the illegals.
It's for 500,000 people. He's trying to get illegal immigrants who have married people who may or may not be migrants who are legal. He wants to fast track them so they become legalized, but that jumps over several million who've been waiting patiently in line and going through the studies, the test, and the courses they have to take for legal citizenship. That's not fair to let somebody run in and bum rush the line.
True, exactly. You're right.
And by the way, I'm going to test this and put it on mute to see if it works. Let me know.
Okay. Yep, it's on mute now.
Okay, good.
Okay, now it's off mute. So yeah. Sometimes you do got to go out, come back in. It's glitch. They always want to advance technology, but they never want to update and make sure that the current technology is working smoothly. Now you're muted again.
On purpose this time. I'm putting myself on mute. I'm walking around, so I don't want any background noise.
Oh, okay. Hi, Katalia. Hello to everybody on YouTube. Um, Hi, Derek. So the purpose of open mic, you guys can request to come up if you want to touch on what I have in the hashtags or anything else. You certainly can. And sometimes it gets spicy, and sometimes we have really good, in-depth, intellectual conversations. But it gets interesting. How are you, Derek?
I'm good, Dana. To the honorable judge, I am good, but I'm tired. I was in Detroit the weekend for the convention, people convention. It was very interesting. Us moving forward, we got to do some things about the RNC, which is not doing their job when it comes to the minority outreach like they promised. So I'm basically calling them out. I've spoken with a few of the higher ups, but they're moving a little too slow. The Democrats are running circles around us. So
Your phone is going in and out. Your phone is going in and out. All right, Derek, your phone is going in and out. Like the connection is not good right now. I can't even hear you anymore. I think you are in the matrix. Okay, just drop down, come back up when you get good Wi-Fi, because that I do want to talk about that. I spoke to somebody today, and he's actually going to come on my podcast tomorrow and talk a little bit more about the Republican Black American outreach. Because looking from the outside in, I'm like, okay, you created this Black American coalition, Black Americans for Republicans or Black Americans for Trump coalition, and then they had the event in Detroit. But the person I spoke to today, he said, they could have did a better job. They did drop the ball on certain things. They needed to screen some of the questions that they had people ask President Trump. They didn't have anybody from the automotive industry there. And I found that, I didn't know that. So I found that very odd and disrespectful. How can you not have the automotive industry present? Anytime any politician is running for office in Michigan, the state, and in Detroit. So, and then two, what he also pointed out to me is they are trying to pander to the quote unquote lowest denominator of Black Americans. They don't really go out and seek the business owners, the professionals, the people who are most likely to vote. A lot of people who are in the lower class, they don't tend to vote as much as people who are, let's say, in the middle class to upper class and wealthy. And he pointed out like they're not setting up that coalition or that movement to go after those group of people, the Black men with the businesses or with professional, in the trades or professional degrees, and wealthy Black people. So yeah, we are not a monolith, and majority of Black people are not poor. So when he pointed that out, I realized that yes, they need some work. They have some work they need to do.
Yes, a lot of work, Dana, and I've been speaking about that, and I've been trying to get that through their heads, and I push for resume application with these smart Black people and influencers that actually could work for the RNC and bring a lot of people into the Republican Party, and this is why I'm trying to get a meeting with Mike Waller, the head of the RNC, which has been proposed to be a prejudiced man. I don't know 100% myself, but that's come from the higher ups around President Trump. So we'll see what happens, and we definitely need to change the head of the RNC again. We need to hire minorities that knows their community, and we need to reach out not only business owners as myself, but the lower, what you call the lower people that might vote and might not, they will vote if you go out there and speak with them, go into the community and tell them what is going on. You can get them in to vote. So I was there the entire weekend, and the event was pretty good. As you know, I'm in the automotive industry. The event was pretty good, but as you know, Michigan, the automotive industry left Michigan, but that would have been a good time to bring those guys back. And so we're going to bring you back, try to bring y'all back into into the Motor City.
Yeah, and it's like, right, because the motive industry did leave, but that's what Detroit, particularly in the state of Michigan, was built on. So you should always have that presence or that conversation. And so, yeah, and then I didn't watch the whole video, right? I just saw like a clip that was on X. But the person who I'm gonna have on my platform tomorrow, he was telling me that the preacher asked the President Trump a stupid question saying about, well, what are you going to do about bringing black businesses back to Detroit because the guy that cut my hair is Chinese. And so, my associate, he was just like, now you mean to tell me a black man in Detroit can't find a black barber? And it's like, yeah, like what made him ask that dumbass question? Like, that didn't make any sense. You mean you chose that Chinese man maybe because he does a good job. It's not because you couldn't find no black barber. And a lot of times that's the easiest, quickest business that a black person could start up and flourish at is the hair industry. So I don't know, I I will probably give it a C after hearing the other side of it. And what I would say for sure when it comes to voting for Trump, not saying that you're going to register as a Republican or vote for other politicians or Republicans, even though some of you should, i.e. Fulton County DA. But one of the main reasons why you have that 21% of black support right now for Trump is because the illegal migrant crisis.
That's kind of like saying you can't find a black beauty salon in a black neighborhood. What time is that? Can't find a black barber shop. It sounds ridiculous.
Right. So, and then some people was like, oh, it was majority white people in the church. And it's like, yo, anybody could come, but it was apparently it was black people there. So I think they should do better.
They should do better, but you have to tap the right people that can make it better. With the people that's in leadership positions now, they can't do better because they don't know any better. Now I'm going back to Detroit in a couple of weeks because I've seen a golden opportunity to buy property and start business. So I'm definitely going back. On the end that the convention was on, it's kind of dried up, not too many people there, but it's a great opportunity to resurrect business, and I'm going to try to do something in that particular city. And yes, the RNC is a disaster, even though the head leadership changed. It's still not reaching out to the minority community like it should. And if we was to put these people in a position to do that, I mean, it'll be amazing. It'll be way more than 20%. We could bring over, I would say, over half of the black people to the Republican Party because they would see what we are doing and what the agenda is and how they can benefit from it.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
What you may be looking at is what was happening around 1960 to 1963 or 4. You had the Southern racist base for the Democratic Party that was floundering. They had a great deal to do with its management. They fought the Civil Rights Acts being implemented until Johnson found a way around them. And I think the Republican RNC, National Committee, has got the same kind of problem right now, which is some old line dead wood that doesn't get it. And they're floundering. So I think there will be some adjustments. And the other good thing about Trump being involved is Trump is MAGA. MAGA, I highly suspect, is going to split off from the Republican Party. So you will have a viable third party that is in place and will offer some alternatives. So I'm hoping that happens. It would be a good thing, I think.
Yeah. So, Dr. Mark, hi. Dr. Mark, can you guys hear me?
I'm here. I can hear you.
Okay.
Good evening. Sorry, I had to take a call. Um, Dana, good to hear from you again, as always.
Good to hear
Hello.
from you.
Okay. My question is to Mr. Gibson, I believe, and Judge Joe Brown. Um, you know, I agree that there needs to be a better job by the RNC to reach out to the Black community. I think overall they intend well. There's just not enough people who know how to connect. So the question is, like, is there enough time between now and November to actually be able to reach the Black community? What are some tactics that are realistic that could be done? And two, I'm gonna just say, uh, Byron Donalds, as of late, like he's been making the rounds. I find him to be very uh, he has a knack for breaking down complex topics in simple forms. He has a knack for calling out the media lies, and I think the media is starting to like cue in that he may be a potential threat because he may actually draw Black voters. So now they're going to try and bash him. That's what I'm seeing. What are your thoughts on Byron Donalds? And if Donald Trump were to pick him as VP, would that be a game changer for the Black community? And I got to ask the question, politically speaking, would that turn off enough Republican voters where it could cost Trump? Or you think Byron Donalds being on the ticket would just like put him over the top with all voters in general?
Well, I'm
Go
not
ahead.
sure.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Judge.
My
Go ahead,
reaction
Judge.
very quickly is I've never heard of him. What's he done? See, he has no track record. And I don't think he would actually put off the rank and file Republican. It's just, it really doesn't do anything except you throw Black out. And there is a reaction that Trump is raking in and he's getting the fruits of it, which skin don't make you kin. We're looking at Fannie and Letitia and Beetlejuice, Lori, and that group, and Bragg and a bunch of whatevers, and Al Sharptons, and it's kind of like we're turned off. So here we go again. We're going to get somebody Black. What has this guy done? What's his track record? What did he do in college? Did he get involved in anything? Has he made any changes? Have things improved because of what he's done? See, I'm not sure that's greatest move that we have. That's like Kamala Harris gets brought in by the Biden administration when she drops out after the second primary because she's a failure. You see, so are we making somebody something that they aren't? And what has he done? He's not a dynamic speaker. So just what is it we would be getting if we get him? See, that's the question. I appreciate that, but I passed the mic.
I was just
So
gonna
I agree with
add,
I,
Judge.
so
I
I
was
agree
just,
with
I
you,
was just gonna.
Judge, and I like somebody else talking.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
I like
Yeah, go ahead, Derek. And then
okay.
then it's Dave, then rock and roll.
Okay, so I agree with the judge on that. Donaldson really don't have enough under his belt at this particular time. I like Dr. Ben Carson. Dr. Carson is my cousin, and he had a lot under his belt. I think it will equal level that playing field out. And also, when we talking about the RNC, you want to know about what would it take, and do we have enough time to actually pull the black community in? And yes, we do. If we get these people that I have put forth that knows these communities, we can get them in that position. They can bring these people over to the Republican Party. We have more than enough time if the RNC go ahead on and do what they need to do this particular week. So we got to put the pressure on them, keep the pressure on them, because like the judge said, we got them old heads and not like it was in the 60s and all that. And they have good intentions, but they don't know how to apply that, especially to the black community. They don't know how to reach out and bring the black community in. And this is a problem. Like I said, when they changed the head of the RNC, they promised to concentrate on the minority and the women. They haven't done none of that. So I'm kind of getting fed up with myself. And I was telling the people, I'm a Trump supporter, not an RNC supporter. It's a difference. I support President Trump, but the RNC is screwed up. And right now, we're trying to get that fixed. So we have to just reach out and keep pushing until we get the RNC fixed, and then we can bring our community over. But Brian Donaldson, he's a friend of mine. I know Brian, he's a former New Yorker. And yes, I don't want to see him picked for vice president. Not that I hate him or nothing like that, but I don't think at this particular time that would be a good move for President Trump.
And I just want to like kind of play devil's advocate to your saying that I guess what you're saying is we need more surrogates, um, reaching these communities. And I'm just going to assume that you have some in mind. Um, I'm not in depth like you are, um, but I just don't know if there's enough. And then whoever is out there, I mean, one, we're outnumbered with the media, right? There's just not too much outside of Fox. Every other media is going to be against Trump, right? And anybody, you know what the story is going to be. Any black man that's a surrogate for Trump, the label that's going to get thrown on them. So I'm just like, I do want to see Trump win for many reasons. Um, I I do think that right now is like what can be done to combat like the number of media outlets the other side has under their control. The same old story of calling any surrogate for Republicans or Trump an Uncle Tom, a sellout, or whatever have you, or worse, a coon that's been thrown out there, and just I guess the limited amount of black Republicans that can actually be surrogate. Because outside of Byron Donalds on the national level, right, that's on TV, Byron Donalds and Tim Scott, I mean, there's not too many black politicians out there be a surrogate for Trump. I'm just playing devil's advocate and just seeing like if if you have ideas to overcome this because I want to see y'all overcome that.
Somehow we lost the judge. I had a good question for him
Oh,
too.
I don't know what happened to the judge. He dropped out. All right.
Maybe Derek will know. Derek, doesn't if Byron Donalds was chosen for vice president, isn't there like a 12th Amendment clause in there that he can't do that?
I don't wait 1 second because it was actually Dave's turn. But Byron Donalds, he could run for vice. He could be his running mate.
But doesn't that go against the whole 12th Amendment thing because they're from the same state?
Who's from what? Oh, that's right. Trump
Yeah.
is a
Florida
Florida
now.
native.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not. I don't know. That will be something maybe the judge would know. I'm not. I didn't know. I didn't know you could not be from the same state.
Yeah, somebody pointed that out to me the other day, and I went and read the 12th Amendment, and yeah, sure thing. There's some major reason why you can't be from the same state as the president.
Oh, I don't know. That is a good question. Dave, did you want to say something now or wait till the judge come back? I don't know what happened with
Yeah,
him.
I'll wait for the judge to come back, but yeah, I agree. I agree on Derek though, as far as Ben Carson. Ben Carson definitely would make a good VP because he had the experience in there. He actually led you know, the HUD thing. So experience, but what's his name? Doctor just made a good point as well. Is having the representatives in the RNC, I think, is like one of the major problems. I mean,
wait, let me get to Dave because he was actually before you, rock and roll. But I don't know if you want Dave. Did you want to say something now or wait till the judge come back? I don't know what happened with the judge. Dave, can you hear me? Dave, you need to unmute. All right. Can you guys hear me?
yes.
Okay. I don't know what's
Yeah, we
going on
hear
with Dave, but let me call the judge to see what's going on with him. Jeez. What the hell is, oh, there he goes. Like, the hell? What's going on with people in their damn tech? You know what? This is a little disclaimer. Stop getting the cheapest Wi-Fi service. I don't care if you work in front of a computer or not, if you feel as though you don't use it. If you are on X a lot, get good Wi-Fi. Invest in your Wi-Fi. That's number one. Number one. Invest in good Wi-Fi. I don't care your age. I see the judge as listener. I sent you a request. I don't know. This is getting on my nerves. All right, I'm gonna invite you as co-host again. If it keeps messing up, I think you being co-host is the issue. Along with your Wi-Fi.
Okay. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
I don't know what the hell's going on, but anyway.
So in YouTube, I put Veracid. I'll put your ass on a timeout. Don't ever tell me to hush. And I don't know if you were being funny or being serious, but you're on a timeout. The second time, I'm just gonna hide you from the channel. Don't play with me. All right, so Rock and Roll had a question.
Yes, Judge, I was wondering, Byron Donalds being from Florida, Trump being from Florida, doesn't that violate the 12th Amendment?
I don't think so. And then the other thing is Donald Trump also has a residence in New York.
Yeah, that's what I thought as well, too. So he could simply, if he did go with Donalds, he could switch back to New York. But I have to agree with you. I don't think he has the experience that he's going to be able to bring to a table like somebody like a Ben Carson.
No, well, even Ben Carson, Dr. Carson is a medical doctor. He's a neurosurgeon, very well accomplished. You need to get somebody who's been a professional with the law, procedure, the habit, and the politics dealing with government. That's what we really need, somebody who knows how to work it. We've got too many people that are essentially amateurs when it comes to that, who learn on the job. And the problem is you only have 4 years per term. And by the time you've learned it, time's out, time's up. So Carson's good, but he has not had an experience as an administrator or somebody who's actually been in charge, where you go there, you go here, you go there. And I'm not so concerned about what color somebody is. I understand that's great politically, but understand you might wind up, since all of these guys are closer to 80 than they are to 75, you might wind up with the person who's VP in charge of the whole mix. And the problem I have with Ben Carson really can be expressed simply. He says the dinosaurs are extinct because they didn't get on the ark with Noah. And he actually says that. Time out. You got to go someplace else with me when you got that worldview.
I want to go to Eddie, and then I want to switch to open up the conversation to Juneteenth and illegals. But go ahead, Eddie.
Hey, y'all, just first time. I mean, I've been listening quite some time. First time speaking. I just have a quick question for everybody listening. Have y'all been watching what's going on around the White House? The fence going up, is that because they are? I'm from what I understood, and I've seen several posts that the Supreme Court is going to finalize the decision on Trump's immunity as president. Has anybody heard anything about that whatsoever?
Yeah, that's not real. It was actually pictures that were posted from 2022.
Oh, during the inauguration, those pictures.
Yeah, at the Supreme Court. So yeah, those pictures were taken 2022. They got posted on there, and yeah, they already been debunked.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, but why would they put fence around the White House? Was it, you said the White House or the Supreme Court?
No, it was the White House. That's what they originally put the fence around. And from what he was saying is that they was because of the inauguration back when um, the election was stolen, and they were doing everything they could to, you know, to get him inaugurated without any kind of incident happening. That's why they put the fence around years ago. I was just under the impression, I could have swore I saw some photos that were recent, that they were starting to reenact this fence or recreate this fence around the White House for some odd reason. But I have not been following it close enough.
Sir, that fence has been up there for decades.
Around the White House?
Yeah, around the White House. It's very restricted area.
No,
You
you're
just can't
talking
walk
about
across.
No, he's talking about like a extra barbed wire fence, not the black fence.
No, they put that up periodically depending upon what goes on. It depends on whether we are at DEFCON 1 or DEFCON 5, whether there is a security alert as per Homeland Security, which never gets it right. It goes up and down. So barbed wire is easy to string and take up.
Okay, so then back to the other point that I kind of brought up in that same topic, the decision of the Supreme Court of Donald Trump's presidential immunity. What is the delay on that? Has anybody heard any follow-up on that whatsoever?
What's the rush? That's the question.
The rush?
See, when you do this, you don't just do it off of the top of your head. There's somebody, your law clerks, the justices, and what winds up happening is they look up the topics, the subjects, they check to see what the law is, what the cases are on the subject matter. They track down the cases to see what's happened over the years. Are there any citations of approval? It's called shepherdizing, like sheep shepherd, shepherding the flocks. That's the name of the service. It's been around for 100 some years. So you look all this stuff up, you go research it, you write it up, you reconsider, you rewrite, you redraft. The clerks go at it, the justice goes at it, it goes back and forth. And the process is not unlike doing a term paper in college, but more complex. And all you're doing when you are on a court of appeals is you're writing term papers. That's what you do for a living. And you have assistants, the law clerks, that help you do the research. So it's not something that you just do off of the top of your head. So it requires a lot of work. So it's not going to be anything that's rushed. And a lot of times, someone's asleep, and at 3:19 a.m. in the morning, they sit bolt upright. My God, that's it. And they jump up and they write down some notes, and they get up and get the coffee earlier than usual in the morning and start typing up the notes or writing the notes out longhand. And then they bring in a law clerk when they get into the office early in the morning. That's how it works. Insight, flashback, sudden inspiration. It's an art to it.
All right, Brooklyn. Oh,
Okay.
sorry, I didn't know.
Well, we're 25 days in now, so it's been going on a month since they've even heard oral argument.
That's not long. See, remember, It isn't just one case, there are hundreds. And the Chief Justice divides up the load. Which judge wants to volunteer to look into the dirty details of this case and who's going to do that? And he assigns them, and he's got to do some of them. So everybody's got a workload.
Mm-hmm. All right, Brooklyn, and guys, anyone else want to request to come up to talk about whatever you can? Go ahead, Brooklyn.
Hey, shalom to the space from the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. What's up with y'all? How y'all been?
Good. How are you?
Good. So what are these subjects in the title? Juneteenth, Trump, and illegals. Is there a common thread?
No, it's open mic, so it's different things that have been trending, or anything that you want to talk about. It's open mic.
I hear you. Juneteenth. I hope everybody celebrates, but just don't forget that we're still in slavery. We're still in slavery. We still have a big fight, and don't ever get complacent in this country. This country still hates us. The white man still hates us, and we got to fight every day to rebuild our culture, to rebuild Black masculinity, to rebuild the community, and we're doing it in the face of an enemy.
It's a
Okay,
perspective, sir. That's a perspective. Personally, I dare somebody to try to treat me like a slave.
I mean, our condition in this country, we treated like slaves. We don't own anything. We have to go to our enemy for everything. We have to go to our enemy for everything.
No, you don't. Goddamn hell no.
We don't own anything. We don't own any of the supply chains. We don't own any industries. We don't control any industries.
Owns all of this shit's owned by corporations, and the big corporations all have public issues. You can buy stock and become an owner on Wall Street. Buy some shares of the place.
Black people cannot get in there like that.
No one owns everything. Not even the billionaires. They just own a lot. But
what do they all look like at the top? They all look the same.
I know some black folks. Some of the richest people in the world aren't white.
Yeah, a few of our people get up in there. They got to do the right things and act the right way to get in there.
Go to Saudi Arabia. Go to Nigeria.
They hate us too. They all participated in selling us too.
Whose fault is that? And
our fault. So that's why I said we got to. So that's why I said. And so that's why I said we got to rebuild. We got to say F all of them. And get together and come together.
For the last 50,000 years of human existence, all over the world, every place in the world, people have been trying to deal with commercial enterprise, exchange, interchange, interaction with each other, trade routes where you go from point A to point B. People went through a lot of changes trying to get around the world. Nobody's trying to isolate. That's the dead end. This is the 21st century.
No, you have to isolate long enough to build power. Every other group does that. Every other group does that.
No, they don't. Name one.
Every other group builds within themselves first, and then they trade. Go to Chinatown right now.
Chinatown.
What are they doing? What are they doing in Chinatown?
Is 16,000 miles away from mainland China.
Exactly. But they still have They still have a connection to their homeland. They have a base.
Chinese built the southern railways after the Civil War, got lots of ex-slave nookie and black folk, about 1/4 Chinese on average. So what else is new?
But the point is, they stay to themselves. They build up power, and then they deal with everyone else. And every other nation does this. We're the only ones who haven't been able to do it, because we got our enemy's foot on our neck constantly. But we got to keep fighting to do it.
Foot off the neck.
Yeah, so we're going to keep fighting. We're going to do it. We're going to build it up. But we got to know who our enemy is so we can build it up.
We've been on our knees praying to a dead Jew about please, while some other folk that you count as enemy are knocking you across the head until some other folk
No, you came so close. Judge, you came so close. We've been on our knees praying to a white image that claims to be that dead Jew, was a black man who taught us to be hardcore revolutionaries.
I don't
That,
give a damn.
but they gave
We
us a
need to
white
get
image to
off it.
worship, to
That's
keep us
2000
docile.
that's
They gave us a
2,000
white
years
image
ago.
to keep us
That's
subservient.
2,000
And that's
years
how it's
ago.
been. And that's why we don't have any power.
Instead of praying, start calculating and scheming. You go into
And
church,
that's exactly what we're going to do.
With political organization. You go
But
to
guess
church and put your
what?
money into the collection plate, you could be financing a business.
You're absolutely right. And that's why we got to get out of that. The
Pimp.
Christian church has been used to keep us subservient, to keep us docile, to keep us weak.
Look. All of them. So pick your choice, pick your poison, pick your salvation. That's your business. But it is not universal for everybody. If you want to get together, you have to make a commitment of saying, if I accept that is worthwhile, I have to be willing to die for it. If I'm willing to die for it, it is a matter of courage. It is a matter of bravery. It's a matter of cunning, intelligence, plotting, planning, paying attention to it, instead of every now and then when I want to bitch about somebody being on my ass, I start bitching about it. Meanwhile, what I do is I go watch NFL, NBA,
Nah, you're 100% right. You're 100% right. That's why, but check it out. But check it out. That's why as Israelites, we have a culture that we teach, that we push out there, and we have to fight to rebuild this culture. We have to fight to rebuild something that will actually force our people to stand for something, that will actually guide and raise a nation and raise a community. And we're more than willing to die for that. And that's why we go out there every week and we go out to bring it to the people, whether they hate us or not, whether they throw shit at us and jump us and attack us or not, because we're willing to die for that. We're willing to die to push something righteous and real in our culture, to rebuild a real culture and to tear down the bullshit the white man's been pushing on us for 400 years.
Well, okay. That's not how I spend my time, but each to his own.
I want to go to Cam, then the Life and Times, then Real Queen.
Good evening, everybody.
Hi, how are you?
Great, thank you. So the gentleman that's speaking earlier, he's the guy that everybody at work avoids, and because we know we're going to end up in the HR department. He walks in a restaurant and isn't happy. He's choosing to be oppressed, and it's his own mind. Because I can tell you, in corporate America.
Are you referring to me?
I work for Brooklyn. Yes.
I'm choosing to be oppressed. Black people have chosen to be oppressed.
No, just you. Just you.
No, I'm choosing to fight against that oppression. I'm choosing to speak against that oppression. I'm choosing to call it out.
But this
your people, your ancestors chose to make it happen. Your ancestors chose to oppress mine.
You don't know my ancestry, boo. You don't know my ancestry.
I'm looking at you.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're going to judge what my heritage is from my picture. Okay.
But skin color?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. You do you have a surprise? Do you have a big shocker? Are you going to shock us all by saying that you're something other than white?
There's Trinidad and Tobago in my bloodline. So.
Okay, where? In your bloodline, where?
Great grandparents.
On which side?
But none of it matters.
Yeah, let her, Brooklyn, let Cam speak, and you could reply afterwards.
We walk around there, this whole notion of this systemic white supremacy. My children don't even know the difference between skin color. Like, people are not walking around like that today. I don't know what little teeny town you live in USA, but my bet is you wake up, walk around, and you feel oppressed all the time. And that is you.
I'm in North Philadelphia right now.
Wait, Brooklyn, let her finish.
That's being a prisoner in your own mind. There are people that exploit this system as they should, and they become billionaires. And there are other people that live in their oppression, and they just sit in it and marinate in it their whole life. You have a choice.
Are you done?
Oh, no. No, I'm not done. If you are oppressed, tell me who exactly is holding you back. What white person is holding you back from something that you've tried to achieve? I sincerely want to hear that answer.
Absolutely, because I'm not selfish. I care about my people and I live amongst my people. So I don't choose oppression. I see oppression all around me. So I'm not worried about
But who are
I
your
have
people?
my experiences that I could tell you about, but that's not the point, because I'm worried about something more than me. I'm worried about my community. And so I see a system
But
that
who are
oppresses my
your
people
people?
constantly, a system that puts ceilings over their heads and shackles on their wrists. I see a system that
Who?
stops my people from doing anything productive in this society because it would rather see them working in a prison yard. I see that all around me.
What?
And
Wait,
that's what I care about.
who? Who is oppressing who? You've given me a
No, I
generalities and
gave
no
you a
more
system,
specifics.
all the structures that run this country, all the structures that govern this country, every person, every individual that's in control of this country that's serving those structures.
They're oppressing everybody except the rainbow people. So welcome to the club.
No, no,
I
no,
mean,
no. You just want now that's telling, because now you're letting us all know that you just want to be oppressed.
no, I'm not oppressed.
You just said they're oppressing everybody except the rainbow people. Are you a rainbow person?
Nope. I said they're attempting to.
You didn't say attempting.
Okay, well, I meant attempting. I am not oppressed, and neither are you.
Okay, well, you just speak for yourself, and I'll be over here working for my community.
Well, you still haven't identified who your people are. You said my
I did.
people,
You
my
just
people. Who are your people?
My people are the so-called black people
Your
here in
community. Is
North
that your
Philadelphia and
neighborhood? Is
all
that
around this
your
country.
religion?
Everybody who came here on the slave trade, everybody who was enslaved here in America by your people.
So let me ask you a question, Brooklyn. Is the Congressional Black Caucus oppressing Black people?
They're participating. They're just a tool of the slave master.
So then we can say that there are Black people that oppress other Black people, or try to.
Absolutely. Just like there were house slaves back in the day, just like there were. Absolutely.
Right. Well, me personally, and then I am going to go to the life and times, but I'm not oppressed, not in 2024. There have been people before me that sacrificed a lot. The ancestors, even during slavery, sacrificed a lot and went through some things so that I won't be oppressed today. I'm not oppressed. If now I sometimes, I could be lazy or whatever. I did not grow with a silver spoon in my mouth. I get what you're saying when we're talking about a system, but in 2024, there is a way for Black Americans, especially in different communities throughout the nation, to fight against this American system. The same way white men and immigrants fight, not so much against it, but they understand how the system works and they use it to their benefit. To whereas I don't see, let me just finish.
I'm sorry. I thought you were going to go ahead.
I don't see Black Americans, not enough. I don't see enough of Black Americans do that. And one of the indicators of that is the voting pattern and not understanding, the Congressional Black Caucus is doing nothing and have been doing nothing for Black Americans. And the fact that we need to stop working in an individual mindset if we're talking about going against a system, right? But this is the American system that we all are operating under. So you either going to educate yourself on the system and understand how it works and do what you got to do to use the system to work to your benefit, because the system is never going to change unless there's a complete uprising or another civil war. And if there is, I guarantee you Black people will not be leading that charge.
Okay, let me add something to this. I went to see Bad Boys 4 twice in the last few days. I went to see it in Malco's Paradiso in Memphis. It was pretty well attended, almost all Black. I could hardly hear it because people talking over it. loudly laughing at inappropriate periods of time, throwing trash on the ground, hot dogs, corn, popcorn, candy wrappers. It looked like a garbage can when the movie was out. Couldn't hear a damn thing. I went and saw it again at another Malco theater in a different part of town. There were black people there were white people there, but everybody was quiet. They listened to the movie. They laughed appropriately with the humor. They showed appreciation with a few oohs, ahs, and whatever it is, but you could hear the movie and you could understand it, and nobody was loud talking, yelling at somebody 2 rows down from them. And it was clean, and people marched out of there with their trash and debris and put it in the trash cans. And the people that worked there had hardly anything to do except to deal with the occasional spill. Now, what's the difference between experience one with audience one and experience two and audience two? It's behavioral. And what I looked at was the type of mindset behavior that I ran into so often in my 50 years of experience in and out of the criminal justice system, either as defense lawyer, prosecutor, or as presiding judge over the mess. And then that didn't even count the 15 years I arbitrated with this TV show, where, if anything, I saw just as much ignorance. So, is it something that's oppressing, or does it also have to do with personal lifestyle, personal life view, personal way of approaching life, and attitude towards self? You see, all of these things come in there, and we just can't say that it's our oppressors, because at one point, most of humanity lived in a real live horror movie. That was stuff that would drag you out of your hovel, teepee, tent, cave, wherever your shelter may be at night, and it eats you. We had adversity. Some people call it Simba, some people call it a bear, but we had stuff that was very dangerous. We conquered it. So we've got adversity now. We used to have highwaymen, we used to have Robin Hoods, and we had predatory barons, and we had village chieftains that were psychopaths, and we had all sorts of adversity. So you overcome it, you don't get paralyzed by it. But
But
anyway,
that's the
I
thing,
pass the
Judge.
mic. Go ahead.
No,
Well,
that's
go
that's
ahead, Brooklyn.
absolutely valid. Yeah,
Brooklyn,
just real
respond, and
quick.
then I'm gonna go to the life and times. Go ahead, Brooklyn.
Yeah, all those behavioral patterns and choices, those are the things that would continue it. And in a lot of cases, the choices that you make are based on mindsets that were instilled in you through the oppression. But those are things that we have to fight and break, that we have to make those choices to fight and break and help our people fight and break, that don't continue, that break that cycle.
Yeah, I'm not in the business of trying to help another grown adult break their mental cycle, but I do believe we should invest that in our youth. It's hard to rebuild a broken man or a broken woman, but you go build up a child, to succeed. All right, I want to go to the life and times, and then Real Queen, Ron, Ricky, and then I'll swing back to hands. Go ahead, the life and times.
Y'all hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I got two statements. Well, one a question, a statement. The one for Brooklyn, like the whole white supremacy, white oppressed, because I came from Atlanta and I live in Seattle, Washington, from all black to all white. Bro, they not stunting us. If whatever you saying or whatnot, bro, they so worried about Jewish and the LBGT, they don't care for us. They don't care for us. So, like, I don't know where you from and what area you is, but that's the area you in, that the white man and all that. Over here in Washington, these folks on drugs, these folks crazy as hell over here. But
They already did the job on us, brother. They just got to sit
they
back and
did the
laugh at
job
this
on
point.
you. White folks don't hold me back. Nobody don't hold me back. I would have been dead already.
When I say
Well, I'd have
again, when I
been
say
dead
us,
already.
it's
I
because
would
I
have been
care about
dead
I
already
care about that
if a
nigga
white
strung
man
out on
hold me
drugs on
back.
the corner.
I've been dead.
I care
I've
about
been
that
dead
brother that's in the
already.
gutter.
I've been
I
dead
care about my
already.
people in the
But
projects.
it
I
doesn't
care
matter.
about my people in the prisons. I
Regardless,
care
I've
about
been
people
dead.
other than myself.
No, Atlanta couldn't hold me back. Damn sure Seattle can't hold me back. So I've been dead already if a white man hold me back. That's just any person, period. But anyway, my second question was for Judge because I was watching a congresswoman. She from Ukraine. I can't remember her name, and she was on a Patrick David or whatnot, and she was talking about Soros and how most of them got paid by Soros or whatnot, and she was talking about like how it's hard to leave the Democrat Party because Soros supposed to put a $5 million tax on her. I don't understand what she meant by that though. Dude, like, can you break that down? Like how to switch how they switch parties in the Congress and all that? Like, do they get charged or something?
No, you don't get charged for leaving a party. A lot of that's urban myth.
Oh.
I think her name was Victoria Spratzman or something.
And the problem with Ukraine is you have to hear it outside of the censorship and propaganda that we get so much here in this country, which is something to be scared of because it's drifting into a fascist state. If you go elsewhere in the world, you hear the Russians are in Ukraine because one, a lot of Ukrainians ask them to come back in and rescue them from the mess that is going on. One, for the audience at hand, there's a great deal of racism there. It's got to do with the fact that back in the late 40s, early 50s, Stalin brought in a lot of Africans and they settled in the most southernmost part of Russia, well, the USSR, which was Ukraine. It's next to an ocean. It's not 40 and 50 below zero during the winter like it is outside of Moscow.
Mm-hmm.
There's a slave trade going on, sex slave trade. They have sex castles, these hotels that have been taken over, and they have armed guards keeping the sex slaves from leaving. That's wicked. That's one reason. The other one is that everybody is aware of the fact that there is a resurgence of Nazism that's into Ukraine because Stalin didn't take care of it. And a lot of these people you see meeting with American officials, they don't have on suits and ties. They've got on open collared shirts. But if you saw them 10 years ago and they had their wife beaters on, you'd see all of the swastikas and Nazi paraphernalia tattooed all over them. So, in addition to dealing with the sex slavery, the Russians are supposed to be there to deal with the resurgent Nazism. The next third thing that they're there for is to prevent the United States and certain elements in the West from imposing this rainbow cult that is perceived as an enemy of humanity because it's against all of the precepts that have evolved culturally in lockstep with our physiological evolution, dealing with courtship rituals, mating rituals, child rearing, and such like duty, honor, obligation stuff. So it's stopping the rainbow cult, stopping Nazism, stopping sex slavery. And because a large number of Ukrainians wanted to get back with the Russians, where they had been for centuries with the whole Russian Empire under the Tsars, under the Soviet Union, and as is missed by a lot of people right now. So we don't hear that. We get all kinds of stuff about freedom, but yet freedom doesn't match up with fascism. And we are converting to fascism in so much as we see on this venue until Musk bought it, and it's still shadow block, shadow suppression, shadow censorship, and all kinds of other tricks that some of the bureaucrats who still work with X still insist on imposing. So we still don't have free speech in spite of the fact that the boss is trying to get that thing changed. So we have some big problems right here. Dana will tell you anytime you ask her. In fact, she mentions it when you don't ask her. A lot of this goes on YouTube. We can't say certain things because of YouTube censorship. And the things that we can't say don't have to do with smut. They don't have to do with pornography. They don't have to do with obscenity. They don't have to do with obsessive interest in scatological things or prurient interest in sexuality. They're just talking about ordinary things that are on the front page of newspapers from one perspective. And if you put the opposite in, you get jacked around. So we have something that we need to take a clue from. We don't need to support Ukraine. And I deviate from the RNC and the conservative side. We do not need to be supporting Ukraine because I'm not for supporting fascism, sexism, and the rainbow cult. I'm sorry, but I'm not. We need to get the hell out of there and let them finish up the civil war. It's like Ukraine's position with the former Soviet Union and before that to Russia is precisely the same as that of, let's say, Texas with the rest of the United States. It was their largest state or republic. And now some of them want to get back in, some don't. So let them work it out. It ain't our business. And if we stay over there, we're likely to ignite a nasty nuclear fuse. Same thing with what's going on down in the Middle East. Israel cannot afford to lose. If they lose one time, it's all over. And they've already said they're going to do the Masada thing. Masada was a fortress in the desert, and the Roman legions went in there because Jews were considered citizens of Rome at the time, and they were in rebellion. And rather than getting captured by the Roman legion in question, they all committed suicide. So the leadership in Israel said they will go nuclear rather than go down in defeat. Meanwhile, the Islamic contingent can lose over and over again and keep trying. So somebody needs to come in there and impose some sense. But I think what's going on there is not Soros and company. What's going on in there is Israel is one of the few states that has written into its constitution the legitimacy of assassination as a diplomatic tool. And they have the Mossad, which is very effective at committing assassinations. And I think a lot of people in the West are worried about that, and they back off when they get threatened. So somebody's got to get the balls to stand up and say, hell no, this has got to be resolved. The People's Republic of China and the Russians, they think a separate state would be good. Right now, the U.S. is backing up the other side that says they want to keep it one state, and they don't know how to act with the one state because it's not going to long endure. It's going to keep going back and back and back. And now we have Iran jumped into the mix, and they may or may not have active nukes. And we've been letting them walk across our southern border with nobody checking their luggage. And I'm sure they brought in a lot of military grade explosives, RPGs, and other destructive devices, and they're already in place. And as soon as somebody says go, they'll flip the switch. And 911 will look like a preliminary warm up. So, I mean, we got a lot of problems here that we need to focus on, and some incompetent people running the diplomacy of the United States. Now, I'll pass the mic, and it's an open mic, so that deviated from the topic. But yeah.
There was one more thing I wanted to say. Like Ukrainians, like the Ukrainians are migrating up in here, but they only staying in the white area. And like I've noticed, like once Putin set it off and all that, did what he did, I noticed like the Russians and the Ukrainians just started to split. I thought all of them were one, but soon as that war started off, they all split. But they all up here in Washington, though. But
have you
that's
ever
all I
heard
got.
of Nikita Khrushchev, premier of the Soviet Union, the one that was in charge of the Soviet Union when that little Cuban Missile Crisis was going on?
No,
You
I'm learning that.
should study your history. Nikita Khrushchev, a hero of the Soviet Union. He was chief commissar during the Stalingrad siege in World War II. But guess where he was from? He was born and raised in the Ukraine, but he was premier of the Soviet Union. He held Putin's position at one time.
Mm.
So,
All right.
yeah.
I want to go to Real Queen, then Ricky, then Evolving, and then I'll swing to Hands, Dr. Mark, and Rock and Roll. So go ahead, Real Queen.
All right, test 1, 2. Can you guys hear me or
Yes.
no? Okay, great. I'm under the weather today. Shouldn't be on here, but I'm going to try. Now, first and foremost, I'm going to back up Cam Street, I believe is her name. We are not, as Black people, oppressed in the year 2024. We are not.
You would back
Okay?
her up.
If you name a way in which you believe we are oppressed, I'll name 100 ways, okay, in which we're not oppressed. The real fight
Go ahead,
here,
name
Black
100.
America, is between the group thinkers who are Black and those who are free thinkers. Okay, we are not oppressed. Who is our oppressor in the year 2024? If not ourselves. The real battle also is between globalism, anti-humanism, what else? Free speech, InfoWars, things like that. Okay, if we're a Black Trump supporters, you notice how hard platforms like leftist-owned meta-based platforms or other platforms fight against us. When we begin to think for ourselves and break that democratic mode, okay, the group think, they delete our followers, delete our subs, they weaponize the algorithms against us. They, make us invisible literally on the platforms. All out war against free thinking Black people. That's the war. We are not oppressed by white people in the year 2024. If anything, they are our allies in this fight against globalism, against anti-humanism, against world domination, tyranny, poison shots, and whatnot. Okay, in the future, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to need coalitions against like-minded individuals, not some spookism, oh, the white man's out to get me nonsense. It's foolishness. Grow up. You should be ashamed of yourself if you think that way in the year 2024. We are not oppressed. If you try to vote for Trump, okay, watch how hard these leftist-owned big tech platforms will fight you, censor you as a Black individual. That's the oppression we face, not from some white boogeyman, some spook who sat by the door. There are no chains on us, Black man and woman. You have to realize that. You must accept this and stand on your own 2 feet and stop playing mind games with yourself, because you're only fooling yourself. We have no oppressor if not for ourselves. It's time to stand up and do better and use the same energy you put into saying, oh, I'm oppressed in the year 2024 to build, to lead, to teach. Okay. And I'll land my plane there.
All right. 1 second.
Allies is
Precious,
wild.
wait, no, 1 second, everyone. Cam, I'm gonna drop you down and bring someone up. If you want to come back up, just request to come back up. And I'm gonna go to Dr. Mark, and then Dr. Mark, when you speak, I'm gonna drop you down, and then
Forgot about me.
No, you're next, but I want to start clearing the stage a little bit. So I'm gonna drop you down, Cam. I'm gonna quickly go to Dr. Mark. So Dr. Mark, and then I'm gonna drop you down to Dr. Mark, and then I'm gonna go to Ricky, Evolving, April, and I'm gonna bring up Drake. All right, so go ahead, Dr. Mark.
In regards to the oppression, I will say this. We're not oppressed like in the days of slavery. and I would say that there are plenty of Black Americans, myself included, uh, raised in two-parent households or single-parent households that's taken advantage of opportunities here, be it doing well in school and so forth, um, getting investments and so on, and have gone on to lead a successful life. And that's possible for every Black person. I truly believe that. I think uh, to the brother Brooklyn, who's from Philadelphia, um, I do think that there is messaging out there that harms Black people. There's things that encourage misogyny, that encourage violence against one another, that kind of clowns getting an education, being articulate, and so forth. Things that can actually benefit us as a people. There's a messaging that does that, and I'll give you points for that. I don't think there's anything oppressing us, because at the end of the day, we can choose to listen to better things. We can use to listen to things that will edify us. We can choose to be pushing for stronger families and rejecting misogyny and so forth. Because at the end of the day, if you look at who's the most successful in this country, again, I think I've said it before. It's Asians, and what they have is the lowest single parent household rate. And if you look at who does the worst economically in this country, it's us. It's Black people, but we have the highest single parent household rate. And from that, study after study will show it doesn't matter if you're white, Black, brown, Asian. A single parent household is just more problematic. So I don't think we're oppressed. I think there's things that are in our control, which means we're not oppressed. We just have control. If you want to say we're prisoners in our minds, then on us to change our mindset, and that can be done with better messaging, maybe more of an emphasis on education, family, and so forth, and rejecting toxic culture. But ain't no white man oppressing us today. You could say there's a white liberal Jew out there that's a record executive, and he's pushing out all this toxic stuff. But at the end of the day, it's us who choose to receive it, right? And I can't make you eat a Big Mac, but if I make if I give you the Big Mac and you choose to eat it, and there's other healthier options, well, then you're going to die a slow death. And I think that's where the sister before me and the brother before me from Atlanta, who's now in Seattle, said. But I mean, I hear you, and I appreciate your caring for the community, but it's us. We've got to do better, and we can break out of this prison. But that prison is in our mind. It ain't no white man. And I'll land there. And Dana, thank
All
you,
right.
and as always, a pleasure.
Hey,
Yeah,
Dana.
and if
And
you want to
just
come
real,
back up, no, I need everybody to please stay on your mic because I'm gonna get to everybody. If you want to come back up, just request come back up, Mark. Because I just want to make sure people who do request for the first time are allowed to come up. So I want to go to Ricky. Then I'm gonna go to
Dana,
is
if I can give a quick response to what he said real quick.
well, I'm not finished
No.
talking. So give me a minute. Give me a stop. Who is evolving up here? No, I don't see her. Okay, evolving is she must have dropped down. So I'm gonna go to Ricky, April, then Drake. Go ahead, Ricky. It's a double mute.
You hear me now?
Yes.
All right. What's up, Dana? What's up, Judge?
Hi.
I heard both of y'all say some anti-blackness when y'all said that there is no racial oppression against black people. Real Queen, she hates black people. That's straight up. We all know that. Uh, Flint Water.
Wait, I'm
Uh,
sorry. Slow down for a second. Who
yes.
you said oh real queen. Okay. So I said I'm not oppressed. Brooklyn said he's oppressed.
That was all to say that you're not oppressed as a black person in this country. And the judge also said it, respect him, but y'all are wrong and y'all are being anti-black by saying that. And I can prove it for you right now. Flint Water, you're poisoning the water in the black community, whether it be the drugs flooding the black community now or going back to the 70s or the 80s. Vietnam, they were shipping in the heroin, shipping in the cocaine in the 80s, specifically denying my community resources in the post-civil rights era. right? If I go right now and I'm a hardworking black man, I see y'all talking that old bootstrap bullshit I'm not really feeling. I'm a hardworking black man, a hardworking black woman. I go buy a house somewhere and my house gets appraised for $100,000 less and I'm not oppressed. That's bullshit. You got to say that's not oppression, right? The anti-black racism that we experience that is the most egregious is the denial from people who know. I see all these white crackers in this space denying our experience. I can put in the chat, I can put in the purple pill, I can show how they have a quota for black bodies in New York, that we just gonna arrest black people. I can show you any municipality where they have that. That's racial oppression. Y'all talk about a lot about illegal immigration. I think that's a problem. Where do they specifically send these illegal aliens? To the black community. That's a problem. And y'all are sitting up here denying this. So even though your ideology as MAGA people acknowledges racial oppression and anti-black racism directed at us, you will sit in a space and deny it. And I think that that's a problem. Joe Biden hired 100,000 more cops. I know that y'all are pro-police. 100,000 more cops specifically into the black community. With what's going on now, I think that is also anti-black racism. Don't deny the facts. And then people talking all this bootstrap. Oh well, y'all just got to do it and have a 2-parent household. They used to hang niggas with 2-parent household. They used to hang the nigga with the suit on with his bootstraps up. That's all a bunch of bullshit. And like I said, I fuck with y'all. I love y'all. Props to y'all. But what y'all was saying about denying anti-black racism is absolute fucking bullshit. Landed.
All right. Well, number
Well,
one.
let me
Wait 1 second, Jess. I want to respond first, and you could go.
And also, Dana, can I respond?
You can
Since you
respond.
mentioned my name.
Yeah,
Not before me. Not before me. Because I definitely my response.
yeah,
I only
okay.
came up here
Okay,
for
so
you. Yeah.
wait,
So you
okay,
can hold
1 second, guys. 1 second. Jeez. First of all, Ricky. So when somebody call out somebody's name, I do let them rebuttal, April. But I'll give people 30 seconds to rebuttal. Because I know why you requested to come up. So I'm gonna give you the floor. Just bear with me. But I want to respond to Ricky. The judge gonna respond. I'm gonna let Real Queen rebuttal, and then it's your turn. First of all, Ricky, if you feel as though you are depressed, you have that right. I'm not oppressed. If there is harm done to me or where I live at, I know how to execute legislation, people who I vote for, to reverse whatever the fuck policies they were trying to put on me to oppress me. I know how to work the political system so that I will not remain oppressed. Everybody has that right to do so. One of the problems that I have is, well, it's 2, well, maybe 3, but don't ever sit up here and say you are anti-black because I don't align with your ideology. And we as black people, well, let me just say black Americans need to take accountability and stop pretending that a portion of black Americans, they do not participate in the science of politics. There are several people who are on this space daily who actually have legitimate organizations. April is one of them. Are you involved where you live at politically? Are you involved where you live at? Have you created an organization or involved in an organization specifically to make sure policies are being created for Black Americans where you live at? That is how you overcome oppression. So when you want to go back when you want to go back 50 plus years to when they were lynching men
Flint
in front of
water,
you're
right?
not going to interrupt me. You're not going to interrupt me because I was quiet and I let you talk. You're not going to do that. You're going to act like an adult and stay muted. So when you want to refer back to 50 plus years when people were being hung from trees, those same people 50 plus years and earlier were actually pushing for policies to protect Black Americans, which I benefit from today. LGBTQ, before there was an LGBTQ and they were just called the gay rights. Yes, they were oppressed with certain things. And they use their political rights, the political system, to get all the tangibles that what they're getting today. It does not happen overnight. So if you want to remain oppressed, that tells me I can't do business with you. I could never sit up here and organize with you because your mindset is fucked up. And another thing, if you are so concerned about Black people being oppressed, then why do you keep voting number one Democrat, Biden? And those same politicians, every election cycle, where you live out on a local level, that has done nothing for Black people in your community. And on top of that, if you are part of an organization, have you went to your local assembly person with a list of fucking demands and saying, this is what we need. And if you don't do it, we're not going to vote you. We're going to vote your ass out. You have not done that. So until you do those things, I don't want to hear shit about you calling me anti anything, because you haven't done your job. And when I say you, I'm talking about any Black person who is not actively participating in the science of politics. Because that's the only way you're going to overcome oppression. Now, your mind is your mind. I don't got time to be dealing with a grown person mind. But that's the only way you're going to overcome it in this country, through legislation. So go ahead, Judge. 30 seconds of Real Queen, and then I'm going to give it the floor to April.
And I just
Very
like to say I'm
quickly.
not a Democrat.
Okay, very quickly. Letitia James, Chief Prosecutor for the state of New York. Bragg, Prosecutor for a borough in Manhattan. Beetlejuice. Lori Lightfoot, Mayor of Chicago. New York City, Mayor of Chicago, current mayor. Atlanta, Georgia, Fannie Willis, prosecutor, nobody to answer to. Kim Fox in Chicago. Let's see, State's Attorney General. All of these Black folk in charge, where the hell did the white people jump in to exercise supremacy? Sounds like we're doing it to each other. So it's a question of what we choose. Is it racism, or is it just dislike of economic class distinctions? Neighborhood all Black. A lot of people in the neighborhood work. They're upset. People put junk and trash out at the curb, don't pick up the yards, don't cut the grass, park their cars on the front yard, jack them up on milk crates when they take the wheels off. And they don't need to do that and get mad when somebody says, why don't you just put it in the back or put it in your garage so the neighborhood doesn't go down. Music's loud. Somebody feels they have to be generous and share the music with somebody from half mile away. You can hear it rumbling. Or loud talking, ill-mannered, discourteous. Where does that become something that anybody wants to live next to? And it's not Black, it's just crude and rude. So is that what people are reacting to? Or is it racism? It may be all of it. But then I hear some of the worst racism going from Black folk, but you can't be racist if you're the victim of racism. Yeah, I know. But that's a human condition. It's known as xenophobia. And please don't say where you use the big words. Get up off your lazy ass and look it up. Xenophobia. That is a human condition of not liking the strange or the different. So all humans suffer from these things. So yes, we have these problems that are manifestations, but we have the mechanism to do something about it. And as long as Black people universally, until recently, vote for the party of the former slave masters, vote for a party that was chartered in the second decade of the 19th century for the specific purpose of protecting and spreading slavery, and think that a party that got chartered in 1851 for the specific purpose of ending it is sometimes somehow or another evil. That's just damn ignorance and stupidity. You don't belong to anybody. You go for the best political bargain, not out of loyalty. You don't owe a politician shit except when he delivers, because most of them are some scurrilous, low down, dishonest dogs. There are some honest politicians, but a lot of them aren't. And some of the ones that have the most the strongest following are some of the lowest down dogs that you could ever meet when you get to know them. And we love to watch Hollywood, and some of the people that give you your clue on how to behave hate you. They don't know you. They look at you as one of the three African apes: chimps, gorillas, and Negroes. And you sit there and you hang off every word. Some of these rap stars that you sit up and look up to, epitomizing masculinity, are some of the worst dick sucking sissies you ever want to find. But you don't know. And you deal with imagery instead of reality. So let's get real. Let's start being effective. It's not that white man over there who's your enemy. It may be, but not just because he's white. It's not that black man who may be your friend or maybe your worst enemy. You have to deal with this thing called character, and we can't get away from it. But today, most of what we support is designed to destroy what used to be called good character. And I pass the mic.
All right, 30 seconds, real queen, to respond. Then I'm gonna go to April.
Okay, so I'm going to say this real quick. I told you, okay, if you come up here giving out reasons we're oppressed, I could shoot it down. He talked about Flint, Michigan's water. Well, white people drink that water too. Water doesn't have a race. He talked about municipal disinvestment. Well, like the judge said, your communities are trashed. You got weed smoking reefing throughout the community, crime run amok. You're raping women, you know, drive-by shootings going on all hours of the day. What do you think's going to happen to home appraisals? They're going to go down, okay? And so he talked about he had to go back to the past and talk about lynchings and talk about racism, but he still votes Democrat. So what is his point? You're not oppressed. Get over it. Man up and woman up. It's the 21st century in the year 2024. And I'll land there.
And just
Who
quickly
hurt you,
say,
real queen?
y'all all know
Who
I
hurt
do
you?
not vote Democrat. So why would
All
anybody
right,
tell
it's April's turn. It's April's turn. Go ahead, April. It's always a W mute. You could go ahead and unmute April. Okay.
All right, thank you. Peace, power, and reparations to the people. He never said he voted Democrat. I just wanted to highlight how you was loud and wrong, and you assumed that he was a Democrat. I didn't vote for Obama. I didn't vote for Biden. None of those motherfuckers. You probably did. You're probably a new founded Republican, aren't you? You know what I'm saying? So I think you should just, pipe down just a little bit, because I found it funny how you expressed.
Actually, no, I didn't vote for Democrat.
I stayed on fucking mute, bitch.
All right, not please.
All these disrespectful things you just said on this stage and said about my people, mute up.
All right, so let's not call
We're having a
anybody any
discussion.
derogatory names.
Stop
Okay.
that.
All right. So
everybody please stay on your
let's
mic.
stay on mute
minutes.
while you talking about people. You talking about ghettos and shit, and you can't stay on mute. I'll show you, ho. Let's mute up. Yeah, mute up. Don't come off mute.
That's what's being discussed right now, is that kind of attitude. Now this is the
Yeah,
resolve.
respectable politics. The respectable nigga is what got us where we at right now. Right now, the respectable Negro. That ain't got us nowhere either.
Against people
I
on
stayed
here
on mute while she talked.
Yeah.
So I want the same respect. I stayed on mute.
Act courteous. We're not
Okay,
talking
I
about each
did.
other.
I
We're
stayed on mute, and I
discussing.
want the same respect. I have stayed on mute while several people have disrespected my people. Hell no. I would like to be heard. I want everybody to mute up like I was on
Tone
mute.
it down against each other, all right? Or I'll mute you.
Please don't come off mute. Thank
I
you.
will
She
mute
just make
you.
sure she don't
I
come off
will
mute,
mute you
and we
if
won't
you
we
don't
and
back
we can stay
down.
calm, cool, and collected,
Back
right?
down.
Relax, relate, release.
Back down.
Yeah. Oh, I am. She needs to stay on mute though. I'm not backing down from that.
Okay, fine.
So I'll be very.
Now
I'll
you
be
have
quick.
the floor. Be courteous to
Thank
each
you.
other
Thank
on
you,
this
Judge.
set. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you. I appreciate it. Shout out to you, Dana. Thanks for allowing me to speak. You know, excuse me, a little razzle dazzle. But I found it very funny how you express how you're oppressed on this app, on apps, how you can't, your voice is restricted, you can't make certain posts. You complain about that shit like you super fucking woke, and then want to tell the progeny of people that nothing is wrong with this system. Girl, that nasal drip voice, you should stop talking about Black Americans. Don't speak on Black Americans. Just leave us out of it. Keep doing what you're doing. What you won't do is sit up and continue disparaging of people who have been pulling themselves up by the bootstrap for hundreds of years. We built over 1,000 towns. Obviously, you don't know shit about what we've built and what we've done. Like, it's so crazy. It really is. Your ability to flush your toilet is because of my ancestors. So y'all is crazy. Mark Jean Giles, who was up here earlier, is not a Black American, okay? His name, Mark Jean Giles, is not a Black American. I'm tired of melanated people speaking on my behalf of what has happened in this country for hundreds of years that you absolutely could not relate to, should no longer speak on at all. Just stop speaking on it. You can't say that y'all love Black melanated people, but continue to talk about how America came and ravaged your fucking country, but you don't think that it did the same thing to the melanated people of this land, and now we're supposed to shut the fuck up and move on because you came to a land of opportunity and this is my land of oppression. Y'all are weird. Y'all are weird. But you know what? What this country will always need is Black Americans to save it. It doesn't matter how you want to fry it up, cook it up, saute it, none of that. It's never been a time in this country since its inception and before that it ain't need the Negro to save it. And we are arrived here again with illegal immigrants. These motherfuckers have lost their mind. They is going all around screaming and hollering, no, you better not, motherfucker, no. Right?
Lay off the F-bomb.
Yeah.
Lay off the F-bomb. We're on YouTube.
Oh, damn, I forgot about the YouTube. I'm sorry. I do apologize. Right, but y'all upset because now it's affecting you. It's touching your life when, you don't say it's bothering you. It does. Y'all don't like it. You don't want no illegals here either, do you? I don't. I'm a real American. My grandparents and my grandfathers and uncles and shit have fought in every single fucking war of this country. And if your ancestors did not, I'm sorry. If your ancestors did not, you shouldn't speak about anything that we want to do with our country. You ain't been here long enough. You ain't got enough blood in this soil. My bones and my skin is in this soil. You just arrived. Pipe down. Don't ever talk about what we should and should not do. Regardless, we're going to save America. Right? And you're going to give us what we want. And if you don't, we'll allow it to burn down. Because one thing for certain and two things for sure, y'all can't fix nothing. You run, you leave, you look for opportunities to not fix your own problems because you won't even go back home. So you won't survive what happens here. We shall, though. Black Americans will. We always have. They've been trying to bury us for a half a millennium. And we still are a majority ethnicity. That's why people want to continue to be racist and operating race. No, we shutting that down too. Y'all are delineating now, aren't you? You know, because most of you is Ellis Island illegals. You weren't even here during antebellum. Please, if you wasn't here during antebellum, shut up. you don't have much to say. You don't make no decisions, and you won't have the final say in this country. You never have, you never will, and you won't get nothing without us. Y'all better know it. Write it down in your journal. Never forget it. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
All right. So,
Dana, I gotta cut this real quick,
okay,
Dana.
okay,
Hold on.
okay.
I have a question. Just a question. Two parts. Ma'am, do you have any sons?
I do.
Are you teaching them that it's their duty to die for the right cause?
I'm teaching my son that generational wealth is built in your infrastructure,
That's not my
right?
question.
Not just in it.
That's not my question. Are you teaching
all of
them
those
that it's their
things.
duty to die for the right cause?
Their family and their lineage is the right
All right.
cause.
Well, okay.
So
right,
yes.
All right. Family
Yeah.
and lineage.
Right.
All right.
Oh, and to the xenophobia, I'm gonna put, because we did a lot of reading and research on it. We looked into the etymology. I'm gonna put the paper up at the top, right? Black Americans definitely should be territorial as a part of the reason and the problem, because we can't be xenophobic. Right, like that's just crazy. That's a nationalized privilege that we have not attained yet in this country. So when people use things that are built to actually phobias, all phobias are used to harm Black folks in America. And I hate when people use it, especially Black melanated people, when they
So
just
wait, let me
regurgitate
what
rhetoric that don't
one
apply
second,
to
April.
us.
So what
But
about when Black
yeah,
people use the phobias against other Black people?
what phobias are we talking, and what Black people are we talking
I'm
about?
talking about Black Americans, right? When they use phobias against other Black people, when we're talking about colorism, when we're talking about your gay relatives or friends or whoever's gay in a community. And this is the thing to where I understand what.
So I got
Wait
a
one second.
question,
Let me
right?
wait.
So the
Stop.
stereotype
Let me
of
say this.
harming gay
Wait one
people,
second.
is that
April,
of our culture
stop.
or other
Stop. Let me
cultures?
say this. Let
Right.
me say this.
You don't want to have
Let me say this. That I understand what you're saying. Where what I'm trying to put here on the table is I don't give Black people passes because of what our ancestors have been through in this country. So if you're saying that, well, we can't be xenophobic or whatever, but we do it amongst each other, or we can't be bigot, or we can't be racist, but we say derogatory things to each other. See, I don't play that game anymore. And in 2024 today, and that's what I mean with lack of accountability, because yes, we do have a quote unquote unique history here, but at the same time, that was then. And I look at it, a lot of people before me made it possible so that I can have a lot of freedoms today. So what am I doing that to preserve that and to make it better? And at the same time, when I see Black people not doing anything or complaining or just acting like common ghetto trash where they live at, see, I don't tolerate that. And I think we need to start calling that out. So, and if I'm getting on Black people ass, whether Black American asses, yeah, I could do that. That doesn't mean I'm anti-Black. That doesn't mean I'm acting like a coon. No, it means I'm getting on your ass because you want to act ignorant and you bringing the property value down where the fuck I live at. So and
But none of that was nothing that I was talking about.
I'm talking about in general. I'm not talking directly to
because I'm
anybody.
all for accountability. I'm all for accountability, right? But we're not going to talk about like first we have to give. You got to give it's to the flatness of Black is prevalent in the world now, right? So people say Black, they can be talking about a whole bunch of people, right? But people who have problems that when you think about melanated people who did things and harm people because of their sexual orientation, the first group of people ain't Black Americans. Right, it's people with my skin though that's racially me, but it ain't me. So no, we're going to dissect every bit and piece of it. So no, the flat Blackness, you're going to have to give me specific people and details and quantify that, because that can no longer continue to happen, because that's a big problem that's happening, right? That's part of the delineation of why we're doing it, because that's how you fix a problem, is identifying where the problem is from.
Well, I said Black. I specified. I said specifically Black Americans.
You have to give me an example.
I'm talking about ADOS, the FBA person.
Because everybody was up here clapping for Dr. Mark, and he's not a Black American. He cannot speak for us.
Well,
I most certainly can. I most certainly
No,
can.
you cannot. You're not Black American.
Yes, I am.
Cannot. No, you are not.
Okay,
Listen,
so
just because you say it, yeah,
Dr. Mark,
can I
you are
respond?
not.
Dr. Mark,
You are not. No, because no,
I don't want to talk over each other. I am going to give Dr. Mark. I am going to give you a chance to rebuttal, and I am going to give Real Queen a chance to rebuttal, because she pointed specifically you two out as well. I'm just was highlighting something. So, go ahead, Real Queen. Then Mark, Dr. Mark, you can rebuttal.
Okay, I promise to be quick. You guys, what you heard tonight was emotionalism and reactionaryism. Okay, I'll give you an example. When George Fentanyl Floyd died from a fentanyl overdose and excited delirium, Black people went wild. Okay, they lost their ish because some career crackhead and a felon got killed in police custody. Get your ish together, Black America. Wake up. April came up here, said a lot, and didn't say ish. Give me facts, sources, data to prove I hate Black people and we are oppressed, or shut up. And I'll land there.
All right, real quick before
I never made a claim that you had. Well, no, because she's saying shit that I never fucking said. The part that makes no sense. I never said you hated Black people. I never said none of the shit you just said. What I really
So why did
said
you have
how
smoke
came
for
up
me
here
though?
and how
Why did you
just
have
like
smoke?
Just like you called George, just like you said and called George a crackhead, that was unnecessary. That's you don't have
That's
to
what
do
he
this.
was. Get out of your feelings.
Child, please. Child, please.
All right.
That's what he was, though.
Wait.
Just get out of your feelings.
Wait, I'm sorry. But you don't call nobody a crackhead, because we're not doing that. We're not calling anybody any derogatory names. You're not going to put that on no one. I don't want people calling someone the B word hole. We're not doing that. So don't call nobody no crackhead, not like that. And I'm sorry, just little FYI, Real Queen. You said you don't hate Black people. I get it, right? But there's been times you've been hopping in spaces for over 6 months. There's been some things you don't say that could be questionable. Let's keep it 100. But
it's called tough love, Dana.
Okay,
girl, you don't love us and we don't love you.
There is no us in Black America, first and foremost. Okay, there is no us in Black America. Pipe down with that nonsense. Okay, hold on. Let me say this real quick, Dana. Let me say this real quick, Dana. Let me say this real quick.
Our skin color feel like they can speak on our behalf.
Let me say this real quick.
Okay. Oh, I think the judge muted everybody because I didn't press the mute button. Judge, you muted, but you muted yourself, but you muted everyone, and
I muted everybody.
Okay.
We're going to have order in these proceedings. I said it once. I've got a mute button here. Now I mean it. Right. We're going to stay on our mics, and we're going to act like we've got good sense and act like we are trying to solve a problem that faces everybody.
Yeah, I don't want too much of the back and forth. I can't tonight. And Dreek, I didn't forget about you. I do want Dr. Mark
I'm unmuting. Now behave yourselves.
Right. And I would like for Dr.
Okay, let me follow up with this and I'll stop. But remember, George Floyd had a white fiance at the time he died. A white fiance. He wasn't effing with Black Americans like that. Come on, people. Wake up.
Okay. Dr. Mark, you can reply.
What does that have to do with anything?
All right. I need to go to Dr. Mark.
Nothing.
I want Dr. Mark to rebuttal, and then I'm going to go to Dreek, and then Wessing. Go ahead, Dr. Mark.
All right. So, look, I mean, it's cute. I know it's this new trend, melanated terms and ADOS, and all of a sudden, if you're of immigrant descent, born here in America, then somehow you're not American. But by definition, I'm an American citizen, whether you like it or not. I mean, that's just what it is. All right. One, I wasn't a slave, but guess what? Neither were you. Two, you didn't build these buildings. Neither did I. You didn't do it yourself. All right. Neither did I. All right. So we have that in common. Now, what I had said was, doesn't matter if you are black, brown, white, or whatever. If you come from a broken home, all right, there are more problems with your kids. These are statistics. If you don't like what I'm saying, then you don't have a problem with me. You have a problem with me and me saying the facts, or you have a problem with the truth. These are known facts, study after study. And all I'm saying is that if we want to see things improve, and I do want to see things improve, okay? Now, I don't have to, I'm not going to justify who I'm married. You can go look at my profile, go see, you'll see what my family's about. All right. You'll see what I'm about. All right. I take care of black women. All right. And I do so with excellence. So don't ever get it twisted. I want to see black families do better. I know black Americans that you can say are ADOS. All right. They're doctors, they're lawyers. They have good family structure and their kids are thriving. So I see firsthand on a personal level. I see it in studies. I see it on a macro, micro level, whatever you want to call it. If we don't improve our family structure, then we are doomed as a people. You can vote Republican, you can vote Democrat. If that doesn't change, it won't make a difference. And as much as you may want reparations, right? I wouldn't hold my breath for it. So in the meantime, we should focus on what we can control. And that is rejecting toxic culture and improving family life, because these two things will help build black people. And I'm so certain about the numbers, and I'm so certain based on my experience that if you got the black single parent household rate down to what white people are at 27%, we would surpass white people economically if we could get our single parent household rate to that level. So that's all I'm saying. I can speak on that because these are facts. If you don't like it, you have a problem with the truth, and that's it. And I'm born here in America, born here in Philadelphia, raised in New York. I'm an American. I'm as American as it gets. It's just a fact. And I land on
Okay.
that.
Well, 30 seconds. Yeah, so I didn't say that you weren't American. Be clear, I said you're not Black American. You're not. And my family were slaves. I can trace it, and my family did build
I said
cities and towns. No,
you
no, no,
were
no, no,
not
no,
a
no, 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 no,
slave.
no. I
And I am
definitely
a
stayed
black
on mute.
American.
I
There.
definitely stayed on mute.
All right, 30 seconds.
You are a
April.
Black American doctor.
All right, all right. 30 seconds, April, and then I gotta go to Drake. And well,
he's not Black American, and he's not at all. And you're going to stop playing with the erasure of my people. That is an ethnic group in this country. That is not who he is. Okay, he is an American. No one's removing that from him, but he is not my ethnicity. You cannot move and immigrate to this country and join my ethnic group. So stop doing that. You're being disrespectful and obtuse on purpose. And that is how you come to the conclusion you did earlier. I did not come off of mute. Y'all need impulse control.
All right.
As an armchair American, April, yeah.
And
you be the one to judge.
I cannot stop. I want to get to Drake and I want to get to Welsing. And then it's a couple of, I want to go back to Brooklyn. Well, rock and roll, then Brooklyn. All right.
Wait, and let me finish, man. All 6 of my children were born in wedlock. I come from a 2-parent household. My parents come from 2-parent household, and their parents come from 2-parent household. I'm not a statistic. You're going to talk to me like I am one. All right. So I know the facts too. And as we delineate and disaggregate these numbers, we're finding out that people with our skin color who are checking my box are the fucking problem, not those of my ethnicity. I'm sorry. So sorry, Dana. Gosh, I'm muting up. Thank you. Don't talk. I'm not a statistic. Never been one. You talk to your other people that you thought.
All right, April, just mute up. Go ahead, Drake.
If I might just interject something to solve this, tone this down. I'm the oldest person on here. There's nobody collectively in here that has paid the dues I've paid and still pay in any metric you choose to say. I'm well connected, and I'm also Native American, and we go back a lot further in terms of settling this place than anybody else, and we weren't original here. Well, I guess we were, but they didn't have humans that lived over here before us. So I include these people as Black Americans because they do it. So that's my opinion. Now, nobody's paid the dues to offset that. So that's just my opinion. But we are all caught up in a struggle. We do not differentiate between white people being Italian, Jewish, well, maybe that one, or German, or French, or Hungarian, or English, or Scotch, or Irish, or Sicilian, or
Please
Spanish,
don't
or
list every single
Portuguese.
ethnicity.
I know we don't do that. So we defeat ourselves when we get off on some what psychologically is a crutch to deal with not facing an inferiority complex that, in spite of the bravado, becomes very obvious if you're into human psychology. Now, I understand it, but if you want to move beyond it so you don't self cripple. Now, anybody on the international scene, diplomatic considerations being what they are, wartime considerations what they get allies. They get people on the side. And then there's an old thing, truth has no face but truth itself. So you deal with this balance that goes back and forth. And when you reject that reality, you doom yourself to defeat because you don't have the numbers to do what you claim to do, claim to want to do. Get the numbers. So I'll make that comment. You can accept it or reject it. We'll move on. I pass the mic.
All right, Drake.
Dana, Judge Joe Brown. Dana, check your inbox. I told you who this is. It's my second page. I got suspended. Listen, I've been listening. Man, y'all, first of all, April just blocked me an hour ago, and I agree with 99% of everything she just said on this day tonight. She wasn't wrong, right? Dana knows where I'm from. April knows where I'm from. Ricky, he left the stage. He knows where I'm from. So I'm going to speak solely from that place, right? I serve in one of the largest public school district in the United States of America, right? And I came in on when we were talking about oppression, right? See, when Republicans are talking about oppression, they say, well, oppression, Black people aren't oppressed, Democrats are oppressing you. Yeah, I've heard them say it, right? It's so contradictory. You say you're not being oppressed, but then you point to the Democrats. See, I point to both of them because both of them are responsible for the oppression, right? The oppression. I see the shit. I'm sorry, Dana, you said don't curse on your stage. I see the oppression, the discrimination, the racism every single day. From who? Yeah, you guessed it, not white conservatives, but white liberals. I see it every day, and I give them that smoke every single day. Because why? If my other page was activated, you will see up and down my timeline that I say Democrats equal Republicans. And I say it for a reason. Every single time. So when folks come up here, oh, oppression doesn't exist, and then try to point to Democrats, I call you bullshit. It's bullshit. Sorry, Dana. Right? Because the only reason you're saying it doesn't exist is because the sake of your party, right? And I see the ones who don't want to sell out their party, the ones who are married to their party. Yeah, I see it. See, it's easy for me to talk like this because I'm not married to a party. Shout out to Cornell 2024. I'll be voting for him in November. So it's easy for me to criticize both parties where I come from. But the realization is I got to deal with those Democrats. I got to deal with those liberals, right? I had to deal with those white liberals when our air went out 3 days before school was out, knowing that summer school coming up. and our school contractor or engineer, I'm sorry, he puts in a work order. Y'all want to know what they told him? Why did you have to make such a fuss about it? Why did you have to do this? Well, summer school isn't for 2 weeks. Got mad because he ordered window units for each classroom. They were pissed. Why? Because now the attention is on you. And why am I saying that? Because they service the up north schools better than they support or service the black schools in Lawndale, the black schools in Austin, the black schools out in Inglewood, the black schools in Gresham. You guessed it again. Those are all black kids, black families, right? What are you doing about it, Derek Mays? Well, here's what I'm doing. I serve on an important board, right? I serve an important office. Most people don't know what that means. I serve on the LSC, the Local Schools Council, right? I'm only 3 years. I've been in this school district 3 years, coming up on 4. The first year I ran, I won by a landslide. Second year, they said, "No, we ain't messing with him." I went unopposed, won again. Why does that matter? The LSC in this school district is one of the important offices. Why? Because we in charge of the principal's contract. I get to vote against the principal, whether she's going to come back or not. I get to influence people saying, tell them, this is why I think she should stay, and this is why I think she should leave. Yeah, I got voted into that office, serving it now. Why is that important? Because when they don't do what the hell we tell them to do on the corner of 16th, I'm putting fire to the engineer ass. Hey, tell your boss, this ain't working. We need this replaced. We need that replaced. We need that changed out. We need this. And if they don't do it, we're going to make a big fuss about it. Because as I just told y'all, they don't like a big fuss, right? They told the engineer, why did you have to send this email? You made too much. No. I'm giving y'all hell every single time. If you don't replace this playground that burned down, by the way, over the summer 1 year, and what they come to do, they came and cut one part off. They cut one part off and then painted the rest yellow. They didn't want to fully repair. They just want to half repair. I said, let me let you know this now. You need to be putting in a work order. I don't give a damn how much it costs. Put in a work order. We need a new jungle gym. We need new pavement. We need new asphalt down here. And if we don't get it, we about to make some noise over here. Because you want to know what's going to happen when those schools up north, it's up north Chicago, we know who go to those schools. That's where all the liberals
What school system are you talking about in Chicago?
Absolutely. I said read the damn inbox, Dana shit.
Yeah, but
anyway. But yeah. But and so back to what I was saying.
What is the school budget for Chicago public schools? $1 billion?
Man.
And who's
I think it's more than that.
Right. So and how many people sit
that.
on that school board that controls the school the public school budget?
I gotta go look and see
and how many are black.
I want to tell you the exact number. I gotta go count that too.
Go count it, but it's going to be more. The majority are going to be black because these are the people that are.
But
wait, let me finish.
Right, but
let me finish.
But you're going in, right? I agree with you, Dana. You cut into what I was.
Let me finish because I did like you telling us how you are making sure you're doing your job. You're doing your job. Where I'm coming from is people in your position throughout this nation. Let's go to North New Jersey, right? At one point in time, they got better, but they're still crooks. But you go to other districts, they're not doing their job. And the reason why I asked you, are the majority of the people that sit on that school board that control that $1 billion+ budget are black? Because there are a lot of black, mute up for a second, Judge. There are a lot of black people in those positions that are in control of the funding, that allocate the funding, looks like us. No, they're not. They're black. They're FBA, ADOS. So where I've been coming from, this space because this space always end up talking about black. But I did put hashtag Juneteenth. But speaking of Juneteenth related to black issues, The fact is that a lot of things that are going on in predominantly Black neighborhoods, because we don't have communities, and I dare anybody to try to argue with me on that shit, but majority of Black neighborhoods are operated and controlled by Black people, from the teachers to the mayors to the state assembly to the people that give out permits, working permits or contracts for jobs and stuff like that. They're all Black. And these are the same type of neighborhoods where you have people that came on this space earlier, whether they live there now or live there at one time. It's not cheap anymore to live in the hood unless you are on Section 8 in the projects. But it's not cheap to live in, quote unquote, they call it urban areas. But these places are operated by Black people. So if you are having an issue where you live at and you see disparity and you see oppression, it is someone that looks like you that is doing the oppression. Now, like Derek, if you are not doing what Derek is doing, or what he does, or whatever the case may be, then you are part of the problem. So I get it when people want to say, well, I don't get it. I don't get it when you say you're oppressed. And you can stay oppressed. I don't have time for you. Because that's just a mindset.
But watch what I said, Dana. They specifically said oppressed. And by the way, the Chicago Public School Board is not majority Black. So let me put that in there. But it brings me to this
what
point,
is the
right?
majority of?
Because now, hold on.
Answer my question.
It's real. It's quote unquote diverse. So you got a lot of people there. You got some Black people, you got some Chinese people, you got some Hispanic.
Board?
Two. From what I'm reading, is two.
But you should know. If you in that school system and you know who to go to make sure shit is done.
It's two.
And who are the rest? They're Hispanic. They're Hispanic.
But Dana, listen, Dana. Again, I said one of the largest school systems in the United States. So let's go down. Our mayor is Black, right? Just got in.
Everybody
the CEO
is Hispanic. In that city hall.
No, that's not true.
Except
the
for
CEO,
no,
listen, Dana, Dana, ain't that what you tell Judge? No,
wait.
Judge,
Isn't
Dana.
the sheriff Black? Isn't your sheriff Black?
Listen, no, that's not. Dana,
isn't the commissioner
our mayor is Black.
You had Kim
our
Fox,
mayor is
who's
Black.
The DA. She's Black.
And she just got voted and replaced with a non-Black. Hold on. The CEO of Chicago Public Schools is Hispanic. When we get down to our deputies,
of public schools,
Dana,
is it school
Dana,
choice? I'm asking you a question.
We look it up.
No.
We have
a CEO. That means it's school choice. Then it's not. Then it's not. State-run public school. State-run public schools.
Dana, no,
don't have CEOs.
That's not true.
Choice.
No, Dana, that's not true. Look up our CEO. Chicago Public School has a CEO. He is Hispanic.
Derek, I'm not saying it does not. What I'm saying is, if you have a CEO, that means your school system is school choice run. So it's the private sector.
No. Our school, it is not CEO. As a matter of fact, we have neighborhood schools. You have to go to the school that's within your area code. There are, Dana, I didn't make the rules, Dana. I'm sorry. I swear to God, I did not make the rules.
What is your point? Just get to your point.
I did not make the rules. I was born into this system. Which brings me to all of this.
Get to your point, because if your point is you're about to give me an excuse. So go ahead.
No, there is no excuse. I'm stating the facts.
What is your fact?
Because people want to say that oppression doesn't exist and I get
Derek,
it.
So now wait, now I gotta mute you because now you're contradicting yourself and I'm getting annoyed a little bit. You keep saying and I'm sorry, all y'all about to get mad at me because I'm tired of every last fucking Black person talking about you oppressed. I'm sorry. Get the fuck out my space if you oppressed.
No, that's not. No.
And leave that mute button alone, Judge, for a minute, because you muting everyone when you should just be unmuting yourself. If you feel oppressed, get the fuck out this space. Because what
real
you're not
quick.
going to
No,
do,
that's
why are you
One
keep
at a time.
unmuting?
One
I'm
at a
muting
time.
everybody, not you. Stop. Let me say something here. Because I'm tired of you saying that you're oppressed when you sat up here, Derek, and you explained everything that you demanded that needed to be done at the school system where you work at. You were doing your job and you got it done. So how the fuck are you depressed when you are demanding something and it gets done? You have the floor. Just answer that.
Dana, you missed
I ain't
two
missed shit.
important pieces
I
that
want
I
you to
said.
answer that
Listen,
question.
Dana. You missed two.
Nigga, I will drop your ass down the listener, and I gotta come out with that. I'd rather say nigga than the F word right now because YouTube love. I can say nigga all day on YouTube. Now you want to talk about oppression? We oppressed on YouTube. Oh, Google oppresses all of us, no matter what gender or color. We can say nigger, but you can't say the F word, and you damn sure can't say the J. So nigga, you gonna answer my question. When I say, how in the hell are you oppressed where you work at when everything you demanded got done?
No, that is not what I said.
It's a double mute. Just give it a minute.
You literally mentioned why we.
If I might make an
Man,
observation to
hold
bring
on,
this
hold
thing,
on,
hold on,
Judge.
if I might get it back to
Okay.
center. I did a photography assignment. I used to do this as a side effect for the person who was in charge of publicity for the Chicago school system about 27, 28 years ago. At that time, Chicago had one of the best public school systems in the country. What happened? You got a black mayor, several black mayors in a row. You got black prosecutor. You got black this, black that. Are you saying the Hispanics are the reason the school system fell down? The blacks are the reason the school system fell down? It used to be one of the best in the country. What happened?
He gonna say because we oppressed.
No. You have to realize, and please let Chicago read up. She trying to get more back. You got to realize I went through this school system. What I am doing right now is currently advocating. What I said was the schools up north, they don't have this problem. They don't have all the roadblocks that I have. When them schools up there ask for something, they gonna put the work orders and make sure that shit done. When them schools up north say I need a new playground, that motherfucking playground is put up. While I'm over here begging and threatening you with the
So
goddamn
tell us
LSC.
why.
Stop, Judge. Wait,
No,
Dana. That's
no,
what
I'm
I'm
speeding it
talking.
up. Tell us
Judge,
why.
it's Dana.
Tell us why.
Dana.
No.
Da-
This is how this is gonna go. Because I don't want a long story. Because you laid
Dana,
out.
you're literally going
I
over
don't
what I
understand how you
said.
talking over the mic. I don't want a long story. You laid out everything that you've done, advocated for, where you live at, where you work at for the school system. That's great. So I'm asking you right now, just to cut through it, because I do want to go to P. I got to go to Welsing first, then I'm gonna go to P. Ray. So I'm asking you, why is it that the North don't have to go through the axing like you do? Just answer that.
That was a long mute. That's literally the point I'm making, Dana. When they ask for something up north, they get
I
it.
asked you why.
I don't know
Okay,
why.
thank you.
Because we
But what we
fighting.
do know
Mute up
is
for a
they are
second.
treating. Hold
No,
on.
no. I gotta, and I'm not trying to be rude, Derek. Just mute up. I gotta go to Welsing because she's been waiting, and then I want to get to Chicago, P. Ray. Because I just wanted you to answer the why. Maybe Chicago can answer that why, but I have to go to Welsing right now. Go ahead, Welsing.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good evening, everybody. I was here listening, and I want to make one comment, and then a statement. The comment is regarding the statement about George Floyd. Um, George Floyd was slaughtered by a derelict cop that we and the world saw. Um, as interesting as this could be, it's that he was in that store that was owned by a gentleman named Mike Ayabala or whatever. He's a Palestinian American who owned that store. And he actually told his employee that if he did not call the cops about this counterfeit $20 bill, that he was going to deduct that $20 from his paycheck. And that's how the cop was called. And I have quite a number of friends that live in Minneapolis. And what was not told on the news was that there was a counterfeit ring that was going around Minneapolis. And there is a 95% chance that George Floyd did not know he had a counterfeit $20 bill. I was born and raised in New York City, and that happened to me with a $10 bill. And so I just wanted to say that. There are several people in this room that are familiar with me for the last 4.5 years. And there's one thing that I never hid, because there was no reason to, is that I am not a Black American. I am an American that was born in New York City of 2 immigrant Black parents. The difference in my growing up with my parents, my father was from Cuba, a very, very tall, 6'4", jet black Cuban, and my mother, a Jamaican. The difference between Black immigrants, and this is just my own opinion, through lived experience, but the differences in Black immigrants then versus Black immigrants post-civil rights is mind-bogglingly different. And, like, just a brief thing, my father would be 99 years old if he was alive today. My father was born in 1925. My mother is now almost 84. And so if there is, when I say disconnect, like, I will use an example, and it's no better time than now. Juneteenth. I know that for the last 2 months, I have been online telling melanated Americans that Juneteenth is not red, green, yellow, or black. That Juneteenth is red, white, and blue. And that there is a political activist on the East Coast who created and copyrighted a Juneteenth flag, and the flag has symbols, and those symbols have meaning. But yet, Black Caribbeans and Black and Africans that are here will take over, envelop the holiday of Juneteenth as if it's their own. I have never in my life seen any Black American say that we're going to impose the Juneteenth flag at the Puerto Rican Day Parade or the Caribbean Day Parade or whatever else that's African. Never, never. But yet they're so disrespectful of the history. They don't even know the history. They're so disrespectful. And the fact that, and there's a fact, and my father and my mother, God bless him, but my father, my dear father, Juan Roberto, he made it a point from when we were little kids to not only understand Black American history, but live in it. Live in it. I grew up in the Bronx on 187th and Valentine Avenue. Everybody in that building was Black American. They were family. We're still friends to this day. And you're talking about 5 decades. And my father said, look, I'm limited to certain things. What I'm going to do is take you to see Minister Louis Farrakhan when he comes to New York every month. That was his way, plus learning history, learning the culture, learning about, one thing I think April and everybody knows in here that I've shared many times, Thanksgiving. my father says, these damn pilgrims ain't got nothing to do with you. All that shit about, all that about pilgrims coming has nothing to do with you. What you're going to do, kids, is that you're going to research a Black American, and at the dinner table of Thanksgiving, you're going to tell us who that person is and what they contributed, and then we're going to pray and thank them. And this is the disconnect with Black immigrants today versus Black immigrants then. You're talking about on the levels of my parents, Sidney Poitier, Cecily Tyson, Harry Belafonte, on that level. You don't have that anymore. What you have are mostly Black immigrants that come here with the most, they come here already with this preconceived notion about Black American history and have the gall to come here and say, well, you Black Americans need to do this, you got to do that. I can tell you that in a lot of these countries that they come from, they need help. And if you're going to come here and get education and learn things, go back to your country and help your people. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, I was reading the statement in X with this gentleman. He's Nigerian, and the most vitriol things that he said, I think it was to Tex, if I'm not mistaken. And I had to add an article and tell him that you're sitting here criticizing Black American people. You wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the blood soaked on this soil. Black America, they were on a killing fields called the plantation for almost 470 years. And they built the foundation of wealth of America. You wouldn't be here. Now, if you want to tell Black Americans to do something, you've got some nerve, because this article from the World Health Organization is saying that 46 million Nigerians are practicing open defecation. Go fix that. Forget about what's over here. Go fix that. A lot of you come here and it's the first time you're sitting on a damn toilet. I don't insert myself in Black American business because there's enough Black Americans that I know that are married in my family, that are my friends for 50 years, that they can speak on their own. But I will tell you this, and I have done this. I will beat a motherfucker if you're going to come after my Black American people, because without whom my parents wouldn't be here. And I will tell you, I stand on U.S. Negro freedmen, Black American business. I'm covering it all. Because it was those very people that loved my father and supported his business in Harlem that got him to be one of the best designers in Harlem for men, and was able to be one of the FIT considered one of the best pattern makers in their school. It was from Black American people, the stars, the boxers, the athletes, the this, the that, the pimps, or whatever. They made it all work. So it breaks my heart to hear Black immigrants come here and be so vitriol towards Black American people, when you need to know the history and know the greatness and know what they've invented and know that you left your country to come here and not fight for your country's rights. Shakespeare could not have written a more beautiful story about Black American people. And it breaks my heart. And I am a big advocate for delineation. That's the only way I can see this work. Delineation. And I hope and I know that if I knock on that delineation gate, I know April's going to be there. I know Chicago Red's going to be there. I know Black Native is going to be there. I know Kay is going to be there. I know that Judge is going to be there. I know I Am Money, Black Lady D, Raina, Carlos. I'm going to knock on that gate with my whole family, and I'm going to be behind those gates with my people. And I land with that. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that. All right, I want to go to Chicago.
I want to make a brief comment, just very
Okay,
brief.
then I'm going to Chicago, and then I'll go back to Hands.
It's a reality check. There's a group of Black folk around, a general crowd, a town, a camp, a scene, whatever it may be, and the wrong kind of people decide they're going to come in and knock some heads, shoot some people up. If they include you in their targets, I include you in my group. And I don't recall the times I've actually witnessed this, been there, seen that, done that when it happened, that they ask anybody who had the look if they were from the Caribbean, directly from Africa, or they'd been here generations in the United States. And if they're trying to kick your ass, then you're on my side because you got a common enemy. And that's the end of it. And screw the rest of it, because it sounds like a bunch of little sissy ass naive shit from people that have never been through shit. So that's my particular perspective on that thing. Now, the other point, hey, there's a reality check. Stuff is real. And as long as all I'm hearing, and I've heard for the last several hours, and every time we run this space, is somebody's going to protest. Ain't nobody said shit about doing something. The voting patterns don't change. The activity patterns don't change. Whether you got the balls to walk up and say, hey, man, don't do that, that's wrong. That doesn't change. So the fundamental aspect of the problem manifests because too many people perceptually think that somebody's going to do it for them instead of them having to do it for themselves. And it doesn't happen. The human race doesn't operate that way. The world doesn't operate that way. Ain't shit on this planet fair. So I pass the mic.
All right. Back Black, I see you requested. As soon as I drop someone down, I'll bring you up. Go ahead, Chicago.
Hey y'all. Happy Tuesday.
Hi.
Hey Miss Dana. Hey Judge. Hey everybody else. So first things first, Wesleyan, you said that you are Jamaican and Cuban. I know you got more hair than a little bit. When you said that, I was thinking, oh my God, they're poor plumbing bills. I know it's so much hair in the drain. But I digress. Shout out to Wesleyan for being a lover of us. But I say, let me go in order. So to answer Dreek's question, is it Derek or Dreek? Anyway, I'm going to say Dreek. To answer his point about what happens in the city up north compared to what down south. First things first, Judge Joe Brown, I completely detest you saying that the Chicago public schools are not good schools. Now, we have the best schools in the state of Illinois, which is why my parents chose to live in the city of Chicago rather than living in a suburb. Now, we have some very poor performing schools. Yes, we do. But our best schools are the best ones in the state. And very, very, very wealthy people who could send their children to any private school in the world choose to put their children in the Chicago public schools. So please don't use my city as an example. Don't use the Chicago public schools as an example, because I am a result, or what's the word I'm looking for? I am a graduate, for lack of a better word, of the Chicago public schools in the gifted programs, as is my child, as was my mother. And none of us are struggling, and all of us are very, very literate. So that's the second thing. But I want to share with y'all today, Chicago Red took a bus of 43 Black people to the Trump rally in Racine, Wisconsin, and a time was had. This is the first time that a lot of our people actually went to a Trump rally, because there's this notion that it's like a Klan rally or something, and everybody said it was amazing. They actually said that it was like drinking desserts. When we walked up, we had our Illinois for Trump flag. Everybody clapped for us because we have hats that really make us stand out. We have fedoras. As you guys know, our Trump hats are fedoras with the feathers in them. So when we walked up, everybody's like, Chicago, oh my God, y'all are here. And we had people from every age group. Our youngest person who went with us was 8 months old. Then we had a 7-year-old, a 12-year-old, and a 14-year-old. And then we had adults of every age. And everybody loved it. They loved how the crowd interacted with us. Some of us got to sit in the bleachers behind the president. So that was a big thing for people. They just treated us, like I said, like royalty. So I just want people who hear this know that Black people from the west side of Chicago pulled up to a Trump rally today and got nothing but love, nothing but respect, nothing but honor. And we are very serious about flipping the voting patterns in our city because we definitely deserve better. We know for a fact, again, because we read, write, and count very well as Chicago public school graduates, we know and understand that what is happening right now is not going to be sustainable. We pay a lot of taxes in this city. Our state taxes just went up by 25% because our governor passed a multi-billion-dollar budget in the middle of the night. So we have to deal with that. We have to deal with the fact that we have these illegals here and they're now in the Chicago public schools and they come with all type of viruses because they're unvaccinated. So now Chicago is the epicenter of measles in North America. We also have a TB breakout going on. We also have a meningitis breakout going on. Now, the meningitis is the most problematic because the children cannot get vaccinated against meningitis until the 6th grade, which means that all the children 5th grade and down are exposed to this virus, and it's a huge deal. Now, to Dreek's question, why do we get things done in the city that you guys don't do down south? It's because we act a fool up here. Do you hear me? This is a pull up on you type city. If you do not give us what we want, we're going to come to your job. We're going to come to your house. We're going to come and sit next to you on the pew at your church and say, now, what was that again? Why can't the kids get this? For instance, well, I do want to say, so that's who we are to get major things done. But now, because we have these white liberals, to Judge Joe Brown's point, because there is a decline, but we are not, again, we're pushing out good people. My child goes to a CPS school. She's in the 98th percentile for reading, 96th percentile for math. So I know that they work. However, when we got these white liberals in, and I can actually post this in the Jumbotron, there was a stark drop in achievement in the Chicago public schools between 2011 and 2012. And that's when Obama and Arnie Duncan, who was over the Chicago public schools and then became the Secretary of Education for the United States of America, they came in and completely messed up the schools. This is the period where you had to teach for America people. So you had people who did not go to any teacher program, any teacher preparation program. They went into these schools, they got a little master's degree, got a little, certificate, and then they go in there and they teach the kids only to get their loans forgiven, not to make sure that the children were actually learning. And then, again, I'll put the graphic up, but when was Obama's Common Core, when Common Core came in, that's also when there was a huge drop in the achievement of children, because what Common Core did is it introduced an entirely new way of learning to the children that the parents were not familiar with, and they could not assist the children with doing that. I think the best thing that I did for my child was put her in a local Lutheran school over here that had very old school books, and people like, oh my God, the book's so old in this school. I'm like, no, these books are worth gold. You do not want those Common Core books because your child will not be reading either. So what we're going to do, my goal for pushing all this MAGA stuff is to, again, get into, on a national scene, to get into the U.S. Department of Education and work on literacy programs for Black students. I think that it is very disingenuous for us to harp on the fact that our literacy rates are so low without coming to a conclusion. Because yes, we know that the children are not performing. Yes, we know everybody does not need to keep saying it. We're aware. However, what we need to focus on is why they are not performing, and that's due to the soft bigotry of low expectations. These teachers, not just in the Chicago public schools, but nationally, even internationally, when I was working abroad at an international school, the International School of Dakar. This is the Western Embassy School. So I founded or co-founded a school in Senegal, and we are an international school, but we cater to the children of Islamic diplomats, ambassadors, West African heads of state, and business people. The Western school caters to the Western embassy families. So I say all that to say that those children were having the same own issues in their $25,000 school on the Atlantic Ocean that they're having right up here at my local grammar school. And again, that is the soft bigotry of low expectations on both ends for very, very wealthy children and very, very poor children. There is no expectation for them ever to go join the workforce. So people do not give them what they need. And then they get mad when you tell them to push them harder, because then they want to talk about their feelings and their emotions and how they can't take too much pressure. So you're just passing them along. You're not teaching them how to multiply. You're not teaching them how to dissect text. You're not teaching them critical thinking. You're not doing anything trying their feelings high. And I told the people up there, my baby school, I can work on her feelings. Y'all work on this work. You hear me? Don't tell me about her feelings. Don't tell me what she got going on. She got a family to deal with that. I need you to work on this syllabus. I want to see the rubric for all the projects. I want to see your lesson plans. Like, all of this stuff matters to me, because if I'm driving 3 expressways to take my baby to her Chicago public school every day, you gonna teach her. So, Drake, that's what's going on. That's why it appears that we're getting things won, because again, we are off the chain in this city. But beyond that, they're really not giving them anything but making it look good and making it seem like they're doing things only to placate the feelings of the children. And again, I think that since we've had a shift to social emotional learning, the academics of the schools have suffered immensely, 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 who cannot read and are emotionally confused, right? Look at these teachers. Do you want these teachers? I mean, no offense to the teachers here, but I'm talking about these ones with the khaki pants and the black rim glasses with their little haircuts. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Those people are emotionally confused. So why would you try to get in my child's feelings? I just need you to teach her how to read, write, and count. That's it. I don't need you to talk to her about her feelings. I don't need you to talk to her about her gender. I don't need you to talk to her about anything but what's on this syllabus. If we as a people can force them to stick to the syllabus and stay out of our business, stay out of our home business, stay out of our children's emotions, stay out of our emotions, stay out of their panties and their draws, if we can get them to do that, then we can definitely raise the academic achievement of our children. But again, please stop telling the kids they can't read. They know. Please stop talking about the fact that the schools are falling. They know. They know. They know. Stop telling us what's wrong with us. Every morning when we put our feet on the floor, we know exactly what's wrong with us. So instead of having those kind of conversations, tell us what we can do to get better, and then we can start working on that plan. But beating people down and trying to get in their feelings and make them feel low, hell no. That is over with. And the reason that Chicago Red works so so well in our very blue city is because we do not talk down on our people at all. We only tell them what's great. We only tell them what they deserve. We only tell them that they need better, and we only tell them how to get better. And then they get in line and they get on the bus and they go to the Trump rally. That's it. But if I was coming to them saying, you ain't got no daddy, y'all ain't got no jobs, y'all can't read, don't nobody want to hear that. Don't nobody want to hear that. And it only helps the person who's saying it feel better in their own ego. It does
Well,
not help the
Chicago, who is
listener.
saying
I'll
this?
land
Who is
there.
saying those things?
Thank you.
George
I don't even know
Soros
if people are
crackhead.
agreeing or disagreeing with the hell shit.
I don't know.
May I make
I'm
an
asking Chicago a
I have,
question. Can
yeah.
everybody please stay
Who?
on their mic?
Yeah, who's saying that? Who's saying it?
Who's saying what?
What you just asked her.
No, I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I need everybody just stay on your mic. I want to ask Chicago a question.
Go
So,
ahead.
Yes, ma'am.
who is saying that?
Like I said, I came in here late. Like I said, I just saw you. I was like, oh, Dana here. Let me tell him about our bus. But I don't know. When I
Wait, Dana
came in,
talking.
it was a conversation about that the Chicago public schools were failing. And like I said, we know,
Well, I didn't say they
and we
were
doing our
failing.
best. No, I didn't say you. I didn't say you, Miss Dana. I
I
didn't say you.
said
Like
it.
I said, I didn't hear.
I said
Okay,
it.
then it was you, Judge Joe. And like I
said
said, if
it.
you ain't got no plan to make
I
our
have a
reading better,
plan and it
don't say.
works.
What's the plan? What's the
I've been
plan, sir?
saying it for the last 5 or 6 months on X Space. And as a matter of fact, all of the stats you pointed out about the disease and where it came from, I started that about 3-4 weeks ago on X Space. So there's nothing new. And you made my point. You've been downing it exactly as I said.
I didn't down anything.
Yes, you
I
did.
made a
You
facts. I didn't talk about the
well,
people.
that's the facts. That's the situation. Kids aren't learning. You gave a number of reasons that are applicable in their reality. Now, I know you say people need to be boosted, but my job for a half century was getting on people's ass when they were wrong. And if they didn't like it, not only would I talk about them bad, I'd lock their ass up. Now, somebody's got to be in charge of getting stuff straight instead of just whining about it. And part of the process is identifying what the problem is that needs to be corrected. You pointed out quite a number of things, and that just backed up what I said. My point that I made tonight is 25, 30 years ago, Chicago had one of the best school systems in America.
It still does.
Yeah,
Our
well,
schools
it's
are still
still
top.
in a sorry state of affairs. I used to teach school, and I
Which
know
one? At CPS?
in
Wait,
California,
can I
Los
ask this
Angeles
question?
Unified
No,
School
I'm asking.
District, and
No,
I
I
lived
asked
on.
why.
Wait a minute.
No,
Wait a
I
minute.
asked why because there are levels to CPS.
Okay,
That's
now
why I'm asking.
I'm not getting into the technical details right now. I'm just talking about the net effect. People aren't learning. And by the way, I lived in Chicago 50 years ago, 71st and Constance. So anyway,
Well, you know, I live on the west side. I don't go south of
yeah,
Cermak,
well,
so I don't know
lived
what's
over there.
happening out
Yeah,
south.
I lived over
Okay.
there. So okay, the point of the exercise is that there are problems. And when you have a perspective of seeing something when it is done in an excellent fashion, and you see how things have changed because, like you pointed out, lack of expectation, lack of accomplishment in terms of the teaching staff. Teachers are paid so little in relationship to the professional work that they must do that you are not attracting a high quality, except for people that are dedicated to the idea of being teachers, irrespective of income. You got all kinds of things wrong here.
But
So
Judge Brown, the
we
Chicago
have to.
Public Schools teachers make $74,000 on
Okay,
average.
that's good, but that's not enough because you need more time put in there, in service training, all of the 9 yards, dealing with what happens, reviewing papers. It is an intellectual, labor intensive profession to be in, and you need to attract it. I don't have the same problems that a lot of people do because when I went to school, there was another social thing going on. Women were excluded from some of the professions. So you got some very heavyweight women getting into the teaching profession, and you had some outstanding teachers who now are in business, industry, law, medicine, leadership, and all kinds of stuff, but they were confined to the schools 60, 70 years ago. And it showed. Now you don't get that because there's so much more that is paid in such a lucrative fashion that people say, I don't want to be a teacher. And by the way, $78,000 isn't even up to the middle class economic stature declared by the Labor Department. It's $125,000 for a single person, by the way. So that just shows you how little America cares about its educated people. Anywhere else in the world, if you had a 4-year college degree, you'd be middle class. And if you translated that to an American income, you would be making as a single person more than 125K a year. That's just the reality. So something's wrong with this whole system right now, and it needs to be fixed. It can be fixed if somebody deals with it, but it does not get fixed when you start telling people everything's all right and it's not. Some of us have seen us in a better fashion, and some of us have seen it slip badly. So we have to turn stuff around because it's not good. And I hire people and I get some piss poor folk coming out uneducated, ignorant, and downright stupid without a clue as to what the hell they're up to or what to do. And that can be changed, but not the way they do it right now. So we can do it. Chicago has the potential. My point in making the comment is that it used to be so excellent and somebody was downing a lot of other things. I said, well, let me put this to you, sir. Chicago used to be so good. You work with the school system. Why is it like it is now? And that was the question.
And he's
So
and then I asked him Why is it that the North don't have to ask and constantly ask for things to whereas the South does? Why? I wanted the why. And he said he did not know. So you kind of, you answered that question, but I want to ask Chicago because when you P. Ray, when you said that if Chicago has like the best school systems, but how can it be the best school system if the literacy rates aren't
So
above?
let me explain it to you. We have what are called selective enrollment schools. So like I went to a selective enrollment school. My child goes to a selective enrollment school. My brother went to one. And when my mama was going to school, they had what was called accelerating learning classes. So we long story short, the Chicago public schools were mandated to be desegregated. So they took all the accelerated learning classes out of all of the neighborhood schools and concentrated them in buildings and made these selective enrollment schools. And so this is why, like, again, I always tell people, I understand CPS from the selective enrollment standpoint. So when people come in and they're like, oh, the Chicago public schools are trash. I'm like, how's CPS trash? Well, Michael Jordan put his child in my school. Two of his kids went to Chicago public schools.
But
His daughter graduated with my brother.
Wait, stop for a second.
To the best one. Yes.
They went to the selective, but overall, because everybody can't go to the selective. And why is it? Again, so when they broke it off to where these are the selectives and this is everybody else, so that everybody else is reading below grade level or math is below level.
But so see, even like I live in Austin. No, I'm. Let me tell you this. I live in the Austin community, Chicago's largest neighborhood, America's largest Black neighborhood. The most educated man in our age group right now is a man who went to Austin High School. He has a PhD. We laugh about that all the time. Like people always say Austin trash.
I'm not
talking
about
the only one in our. No. But what I'm saying,
I'm talking about the numbers.
It's the I know the number. Let me finish. What I'm saying is the expectation is low. So even when he was going to Austin, he was able to come out. He's not the only one. He's not the notable exception. And I want people to know that too.
Right there. Just pause right there. Pause right there. I don't want to talk about one person. I don't want to talk about individuals.
No, I'm talking about people.
Right. But let me intersect this. The expectation is low. Expectation is low, definitely when it comes to administration. First of all, the school system in this country it's a business. They don't give a shit if the kids are educated. Look at how they're educating the kids. Even if you go to suburbia, they're trying to indoctrinate kids with bullshit. So it's a business. A lot of school systems have $1 billion budget, especially in urban areas such as North New Jersey. And everybody, greedy person, got their hand in the pot. Stop talking, and I'm not talking to you, P. Ray. I'm talking about people collectively. Stop pointing the finger at white people because it's Black people that got their hand in that $1 billion school system pot, stealing shit. So
yes, ma'am.
So I say all that to say is you're right. The expectation is low. So when I always ask the why, I don't care about the one individual. I don't care about a dozen individuals. I want to know about the collective why. And the why is, you're right, low expectations. And the number one factor of the low expectations starts in the damn household. Because
no, ma'am. I totally reject that.
Yes,
I reject that.
Wait, let me finish.
Go ahead.
Let
go
me
ahead,
finish.
ma'am.
Let me finish. Because I did say I don't care about the individual. I don't care about a dozen people. So don't tell me the names of people who you personally know or yourself.
No, ma'am.
I'm
do you think that the mamas wake up every day? Do you think that these mothers wake up every morning and fight these kids out the bed, try to put something on their stomach and march them to the school for them not to learn? See, that's what I be upset about. That.
Right, so pause. Wait, stop.
So don't put it on the mama.
Stop. I said the home. Fuck the school.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm only one that can say that. I'm only one that can say the F, as long as I ain't saying F you to nobody. But I said the home. So it's not about, and first of all, I don't have to fight to get up to get my kids dressed to get them out to school. But
no, I'm just using
I'm not
a word.
I don't educate my kids through the school system, because whatever they learn at school, when they come home, I need to reiterate that. I need to make sure that you are constantly reading, constantly studying, put you in some type of enrichment programs. Yes, it is hard to be a parent, whether you're married or not. I was a single parent, meaning I was not married, but I did have people to help me. But I worked 2 jobs. It is very hard. But so what? You are a parent. That's part of it. It's not perfect. But one thing I do know for sure, I didn't raise my kids to say you're oppressed because you're Black. Absolutely not. You're oppressed because you did not work hard enough. You're oppressed because I did not instill the proper tools in you enough. You are oppressed because I didn't make sure when you came home from school that you had a second school set up. Now, when I talk about the home, because yeah, you could go to the suburbs and you have a lot of stay-at-home moms, so they don't have nothing to do but be all up in their kids' business, right? And you do have money, you can allocate more resources to come into to take away your job as a parent, to hire somebody to do or whatever the hell. Or you live somewhere where they have all these different enrichment programs, right? But if I have a multi-billion-dollar budget in this school system, I should have the same goddamn programs that they have in suburbia, because my school system budget is more than them. Per child seat is $40K. So I should have the same quality as suburbia. Suburbia is not telling them don't give it to me. It's the people down at the school board, that is not doing what they need to do. And then on top of that, because I got to fight with the school board, that means I need to make sure and double up at home to educate my kid. Every parent, majority in general, when we're talking about parents, this is white, Black, or whoever, they're not educating their kids because they're leaving it up to the school system. And when you leave it up to the school system to educate your kids, then your kids ain't gonna learn shit. So you have to take accountability as a parent that you ain't doing your job adequately.
Well, let me tell you why again I push back against that. Wait, hold on, Mr. Judge Brown, because I want to push back against. I got 2 things. The reason I push back on that the hardest is because I was a literacy coordinator for District 88, which is right outside of Chicago. That's Maywood, Bellwood, Broadview. And so when I was doing their literacy assessments, I could see that the Hispanic children had higher reading attainment than the Black children. And I said to myself, how is it that the Hispanic kids are doing better in these on these tests than the Black kids, and the Hispanic kids not even speaking English at home? They're not reading at home. They're not doing any of this. How could this be? Well, I sat down. I said, Lord, tell me what happened. The Lord told me, well, P. Ray, they get ESL classes out the gate. So they learn the proper grammar. They learn the English and everything. These Black kids, like the little boy Calvin told me, Miss P. Ray, I got to read this, then I got to translate this in my brain, then I got to try to do the questions. I don't know what this say. I don't talk like this. So even when we talk about the parents, those Hispanic children are getting things at the school that the Black children are not, and that has absolutely nothing to do with the parenting.
It always has to do with the
2,
parents.
Hold on a second.
no, hold on, no, it does
Wait,
not.
second,
No,
Judge,
there's
one second,
because we're not
Judge,
getting
one
that
second.
literacy. We're not getting what they're getting.
So my part of my other question was, why is it when it's the $1 billion school budget, then why isn't the Black kids getting the resources that forget about the suburbs, that the Hispanic kids aren't getting? Why is that?
Can I tell you why? Because because the Hispanic children out the gate again get these ESL type classes. So if they send home what's called a family language survey, and if you write on your family language survey that you speak any other language in your house other than English, you're automatically going to get more literacy support.
Why are the Black kids not getting resources?
I'm telling you why. Because their money is coming from the family literacy survey. Excuse me, sir. I worked in schools just like you.
Hold up a second. Now, this is a controlled study over a 10-year period. I put a woman on probation. I'm looking at her family situation. She's got 6 kids. 4 of them are in school, public schools. First thing I do is I want to see a midterm report on what these children are doing in school. If they're not doing well, I'm referring this person literally to a Dr. Wilberforce, a lady that I knew at the Memphis Public Library on Peabody. And she would be instructing that person in how to deal with management of the home environment when it came to learning. If the child did not improve, then I revoked the bond for a week, and they spent a week in jail. I'd let them back out. They'd have to attend one of my counseling sessions. I'd bring Dr. Wilberforce in, and we would have several of them who were in this situation. The next time, if this child did not improve, the bond got revoked. And I set a probation bond for 2 weeks.
Are you
It'd
talking about you
go up
locked
to
up the
30 days.
parent?
Yes, locked up the parent. And it was amazing. In 100% of the instances, at no later than the third bond revocation, the children started doing better in school. And their report cards and their performance ratings started going up. So over a 10-year period, this was a 100% success rate when you motivated the parents to see to the child's education. I think that would somewhat refute what you're talking about. Now, granted, there are not a lot of resources, but the learning process is what happens at the kitchen table when the child is supposed to be doing homework. And if the child doesn't understand the homework, then the parent can stay one chapter ahead. And that's all that's necessary to teach the child and also learn and cure the deficits that the parent has. So, between me just making this an absolute hell for somebody if they didn't comply with the court's orders, I found after about the third time we started getting compliance, and the parent in question started getting serious about ensuring that the child learned. And guess what? They did on almost a 99% compliance rate after the third time. So I don't particularly follow that it's the system's fault when you can homeschool nowadays, but you could effectively homeschool then. You don't have a vocabulary? Get a dictionary. I'd make these people go buy one. Bring it to me. I want to look at it and I want to eyeball it. Do you have it? And then I would give them reading challenges and vocabulary challenges so they could teach their kids. I'd have Ms. Wilberforce, Dr. Wilberforce, come in and give them instructions. I'd sit there with them while they're getting instructions on how to teach children to learn and also learn themselves. So there you go. The parents got involved in the process. When the parents got involved in the process, then the children progressed. And the children are all doing well. I see this 25, 30 years after the fact now. And I get told it worked.
Right.
How did you know? So there you go.
I think that's one effective way. Absolutely. But the point that I'm trying to make, all right, I don't know why you dropped down Chicago. The point that I'm trying to make, to Chicago, what I'm trying to get down to is, when I keep saying, okay, if the resources, special resources are being allocated to Hispanic students, right? And Black students are literacy are below level, and there's no resources being allocated to them in the school system. So yes, the parents need to be doing their job, and the school system need to be doing their job. But if the parents is doing their job and I'm sending my kid to school and you're not doing your job, but you're giving resources to another group of kids, my point that I'm trying to make Chicago is somebody stealing.
And I can dig that, Dana. But what I'm saying is that those resources literally come through the family language survey. So, I mean, like even when I was getting my master's in education up here, the one thing that I learned in one of my literacy classes, my professor pushed this. If you got a child in CPS, write on the family literacy survey that y'all speak another language so your child can get more literacy support.
Fuck that. No.
And that's what I'm saying.
And that's the problem.
Voila.
And that's the problem because
yes.
as an American citizen, I didn't cross no goddamn fence or swim no river. This is my lineage here. I don't got to sit up here and lie and say I speak another language. No, I speak the American language, English. Why are you not allocating the proper resources to my child's school? You're fucking stealing.
And that's
you're not doing your job.
That's why I'm here. Literally, that's why I'm doing this whole MAGA movement so I can get in with the decision makers and push this on our people.
I'm not pushing back on nothing that you're doing.
No, I understand.
But
I'm saying I agree with you.
yeah, and the point that I'm trying to make is when you have somebody like Judge Joe Brown or somebody else who are on the outside looking in Chicago today, that's how they're not saying not so much what the parents ain't doing. Some people are, but they know it's those people sitting behind those desks writing out the checks, who's sitting on the fucking boards. They are stealing. They are thieves. They are not allocating those resources to the Black students. So I'm not going to coddle Black adults, because what I want the Black adults to do, the residents of Chicago in that particular school district, is to protest, is to march into the board and raise hell. Because if that's the truth, to where you're allocating money to illegals and Hispanics, whether they're citizens or not, and I gotta lie and say I speak another language, then all hell need to break loose.
And that's my point, ma'am. But again, none of that has anything to do with Kiki and her kids, because Kiki is. Because Kiki doesn't know about. If Kiki was not in my literacy class, Kiki does not know about that family literacy survey and what comes with it.
Okay, so
that's what I'm saying.
But I'm Kiki. I don't know about the literacy that the Hispanics get and that extra resources of ESL. But what I do know is that my kid is not getting the proper resources. So I may not know that the Hispanics is getting extra. I just know you're not you're not giving the adequate resources to my kids' school. So that gives me more than enough reason to organize PTAs or parent organizations and raise some hell. So I'm Kiki. I don't know all that inside information like you do. I do know if my kid is not I do know when my kid does not have access to those resources.
And I get it. Like I said, for me, I'm all about testing, all about test scores, proficiency, all that stuff. All I'm saying is that when we have these conversations, just know that Kiki is not taking her kids to school every day for them not to learn. It is what's happening in that school. Like you said, it's what's happening in that board. CPS has a $9.8 billion budget. Okay, at this school up here by my house, it's got 35 kids in it. Each child, they spend on like $65,000 on each child, and can't no children in that school read or count. So I get what you're saying, but at the same time, those kids going to school every day. Going to school, even if you don't do anything, you just go and put your head down. You got to come out of there with something. They're coming out with nothing, and that, ma'am, starts with that teacher.
So no, it do start with Kiki, and it do start with people such as yourself or like you and others who know that inside that the community need to come together and be like, if it's $60K on my son's head and he go to that school every day and he can't read, and I'm doing their job by adding a school after school and on the weekends, then we all need to go raise fucking hell. It's some lawsuits that need to be flying. So yes, you could sue the damn school board. So yes, I'm sorry, that shit do start with Kiki and the Jeromes.
All right, we don't gotta agree,
and it's not just them; it's the Kiki, the Jeromes, you, and everyone need to go there with some tiki torches and say, "Give me my fucking money."
May I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
Why is Kiki having children if she is not prepared to train and condition them to survive or prosper in the environment in which she lives?
Because Kiki has the autonomy to govern her womb however she wants to.
No, it isn't.
It is. It's hers. It's her vagina.
Going at with that, Judge?
Those her children. You don't get to tell. You don't get to qualify somebody's motherhood. Excuse me, sir. That's disrespectful.
I locked them up, and I put them in jail, and I signed death warrants to set their execution dates.
You proud of that?
So okay, yeah, because some of them are so no good, low down scoundrels need to be gotten the hell out the way because they hurt people, and they are poison.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're lucky they live in the United States of America and they don't live other places in the world where they'd prop up a wall briefly before they got shot by the firing squad. So, yeah, people do make these decisions when you live in a social, political environment. It's just we live in a system here where that doesn't happen often.
So you're saying that women who are not well educated or do not make enough money should not have babies?
Listen to my question.
Yes, sir.
from time immemorial, from when we lived in caves or huts or wherever in the hell it was during the Ice Age or after the Ice Age, North America, South America, Asia, Africa, Europe, it doesn't make any difference. You did not bring children into the world if you were ill prepared to condition them to survive in the world.
Sir, there was
That
no family
wasn't
planning
done.
back there. I again
Excuse
reject that.
me.
There was no family planning.
Excuse me. Well, look at all the people on the planet Earth.
Mhm.
That's because that was a reality. Nobody survived. Remember? Survival of the fittest. If you can't survive in your environment, something ate you, you starved to death, or you sickened and died. Or somebody that was a rival tribesman killed you. So the bottom line is you didn't live long enough to breed if you couldn't make it. So it was your obligation to be able to impute survival in your environment to your children. You didn't have a school going out teaching to somebody to survive when you got 17 people in your village who are grown. The village may have helped out, but you also helped out. That was your job. So when did we get so used to this idea that is a modern thing just in the last 6, 7, 8, 9 decades, where all of a sudden we've got an institution that takes over what parenting is about?
So,
And yes,
mhm.
we do get into it. They had a draft. A lot of people didn't make it back because they owed a burden to society. And you got sent overseas, and it was deal with this machine gun nest, whether it was in frozen Germany or it was in sweltering Pacific, whether it was over in Southeast Asia or whether it was in a damn sand pile where they didn't have the draft in, but they're about to put one back in place in 2 years. So what the hell? Yes.
All right,
Can,
so
can I
listen.
interject here for a
When do
second?
we get this where it's no
One
longer
second,
a
rock and roll.
parent's responsibility to take care of the children? When
Listen,
did we get that idea?
yeah, so listen, honestly, P Ray, because you have a lot of knowledge about Chicago. And it's 7 people requesting to
Yeah, I'm
come
gonna be
up.
quiet. I'm gonna be quiet. Just when y'all want to make an example, just don't use my city.
No,
Say
no,
Newark,
I
New
want to,
Jersey. Say St.
have
Louis.
wait, stop a
Why
second, P
not?
Ray. Stop,
Why
because
not?
I want to have a conversation to flesh this
Well,
out
the
real quick.
point is, why not?
Because there's
What
Right.
other
makes your
cities you can
city
talk about.
exempt?
Now talk
Well,
about
we talk
yours.
about
Talk
all
about
of them.
yours.
Ain't
Don't talk
nobody,
about mine.
ain't nobody exempt, and I'll talk about it if I feel
I ain't
like
never
it.
heard you say no but other city, but mine.
I
That's what
mentioned,
everybody
I
want to say.
just mentioned
Chicago, Chicago,
California.
Chicago. That's a
I
state.
Well,
just
he
mentioned,
never mentioned Chicago. Actually,
did.
Derek brought up Chicago, and
Okay, like I
yeah.
said, I
that's how
came
we got into
in.
the Chicago
Okay,
Yeah, and the
conversation.
okay.
bottom line, I've been talking about everybody.
But
I'm talking about this whole damn
but the
country
thing
and this
is,
planet Earth.
so
Yeah,
the
okay.
so I want to stay in Chicago because I talk about North, and I wrote it down. Their budget is 1.52 billion, 21,000 per student. Chicago, you said, is 9 billion, 65,000 per student.
No. For that school overall, it's like 29,000 a student. It's just
Okay.
that particular school because they're so small.
But the budget is 9 billion.
9.8 billion US dollars. Yes, ma'am.
And it's rounded off 30K per student.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. So what I'm trying to say is, ain't no way in hell it is first of all, the parents need to get involved. Everybody need to storm the capital of the school board in Chicago and demand the proper resources for their students. And if you're not doing that, I am going to lay that blame on the people before I go to the teachers or the administration, because it's the people that is going to make sure that the money is being allocated and the resources are available to these Black students. And if the people is not raising hell, then you ain't going to get shit done. And you have to put the blame on the people. I don't care if it's the parents or not. You live in that community, whether you got kids or not. You have to raise hell. I would give North a little bit of credit because there's some thieving ass Black folk there too. But they got their act together and the literacy rate increased. It has to be better, but it has increased. And they have $1 billion budget. $9 billion, 30,000 per kid. No. all of the people in Chicago need to be raising hell. And especially if the illegals, they got what, P-Ray, over 300 million?
Yes, ma'am. And we are
So-
doing that though. That's the thing though. We do storm the school board meetings. We do pull up in front of Brandon's house. We do go to Pedro, who's the CEO of the CPS. We do catch him in the grocery store. All of this stuff is happening. It's not like people are just sitting on their hands and saying, whoa, it's me. No, we're a warrior city. So again, all I'm saying is Grant, Kiki, and Jerome, and Amber, and Chad, and Ming, and Yao, and everybody else that got kids in this system, grant us grace because we trying. That's all I'm saying. We trying so hard.
So how about this? How about because lately we've been on Fulton County, and I think it's time to start exposing Chicago School Board, start naming names, City Hall, and I do want to start doing that content on my platform as well, because but again, just going back to just before you even came up, several people and just talking about oppress. I don't want to hear that black oppress shit. If you not going nowhere with tiki torches, if you not doing a local January 6th somewhere, I don't want to hear nothing about you being oppressed. I just don't. Real quick, I want to go to Rock and Roll.
I'm glad Miss Chicago, I'm glad you're going for Trump, because see, Chicago, before they can complain, they got to explain current mayor, Miss Beetlejuice.
Her name is Lori Lightfoot.
Yeah, I know who it is. We call her Lori Dykefoot, but
that's not
another
nice.
thing.
She's a wonderful woman.
It ain't meant to be nice. She's a failure.
She ain't. You don't live in our city. She ain't failed you. Why you calling her out her name?
Look, I'm a political scientist. I can analyze incompetence when I see it.
They call her incompetent, not a dyke.
What did Lori do for black people in Chicago?
Can I tell you what she did for us?
Fool, let me tell you what she did that's so bad. The damn fool put up money supposedly to deal with Hispanic credible street organization. She wound up giving it to street gangs. They financed the hijacking of those several boxcars full of arms at the IC rail yard and got them into the national traffic. That's where all these damn Glock switches came from.
Sir, they've been breaking into the freights before. No, she's not. She is not responsible for that.
She is a piece of shit.
Okay, but
so
that is such a low class thing to say.
You got Vivica Fox right now, who's a piece of shit, incompetent, who's supposed to be in charge of your prosecution.
Her name is Kim Fox, and yes, I do. Can I tell you what's going on with our electorate? But we did not. We did not. You don't know anything about. Let me tell you. You don't know. Do you know? No. Do you know Chicago politics? Do you know that they trick the elderly in these senior citizen buildings to sign these petitions? Do you know that?
You can't trick. We aren't.
Can I tell you what happened? Let me tell you what happened, because these people were victims, sir. And then I'm gonna get down and let the other people talk.
Well,
the treasurer, excuse me, the treasurer of the city of Chicago, and her husband, who is an alderman and over the budget committee, they got one of the workers from the treasurer's office and said, come run some errands with us. They went and got some boxes of ham. They went to the senior buildings. They said, seniors, we got these hams. Come on downstairs and get a ham. Y'all got to sign for it. So they put on their shoes. They got their walkers. They got in the elevators. Everybody come downstairs, stand in the line. They're signing their name on a sheet of paper thinking that they're signing for a ham. They were actually signing petitions for the treasurer's chief of staff and the alderman's chief of staff. They had no clue that they were signing a petition. Okay, that's the kind of stuff that happens up here. Do you know that Brandon Johnson won zero? He won 0 black wards in the primary. We didn't choose Brandon.
Excuse me, I'm 77 years old. I'm telling you this. That's full of shit.
No, I'm telling you this happened.
Because the bottom line is it's no goddamn excuse. If you an old sucker and you still a sucker, you started off that way. You didn't educate yourself.
Sir, that's fraud. You a judge. You a judge. That's fraud.
Damn it. And I grew up in South Central Los Angeles.
So it's okay to defraud people? So the victims of fraud deserve to be defrauded? Okay, so they defrauded them and violated the Voting Act.
The people ought to be, see, you're thinking like a victim.
I'm not. Those people did not deserve that. No, I call out villains. That was a villain thing to do.
are.
No, I
Yes,
am not.
you
You don't know
are.
me. I'm not
So
a
wait,
victim at
so
all.
okay,
I listen to you.
I don't
I'm
need you to
listening
judge
you right.
me. No, you can listen
I
to
am
what you want
judging
to.
you. That was
And I
my
don't care
job.
about your judge. You
I've
not
been
this ain't your
doing it
job
for
right
a
here
half
though, sir.
century.
You
That's
can't
my job.
disrespect me.
I'm not
You are.
disrespecting you. I'm judging you, and
No,
I'm
I'm not a
delivering
I'm not a
verdict.
victim, and I reject it
Oh,
in
well,
what
then
you're
why you
saying.
sound like one?
No, I'm telling you what happened. These people are
Why
getting
you
federally
telling me
prosecuted for
victims?
that. This is
Why
not
you
victim.
telling me
These are
victims?
villains.
wait, so wait,
Then
wait,
they
These
need
are
to get their
villains.
gumption together
This
and
is
do
villains.
something
Y'all
about it.
just want to talk about us. You think
You
that we
need to
choose
do
this
something
environment.
about
We're
it.
fighting back
Do
every day. Do you think we
about
are?
it.
And we are.
It's
You gonna
okay,
tell
so
me
already
out?
stop,
justified.
Donate
Being
to
a
my
victim, they
organization,
will remain a victim.
ChicagoRed.org. Donate and help me.
All right, stop.
Why?
Stop, please stop,
You're
Judge.
not giving
Stop,
me what I
Judge.
need to
No,
hear.
because what she said, Judge, she said this is. I don't know if you voted for Lori Lightfoot or whatever, but the thing is, what she was saying, Judge, that the Chicago politics did a lot of trickery. However, they are they what they do, they sued them or they filed charges because of the fraud, right? Chicago.
Correct.
So
Okay.
when something is done to a group of people in Chicago, such as the falsified, fraudulent ballots or whatever they was filling out, petitions, because that's you're just giving us an example of some of the things that go on. And the people find out they do exercise their political rights and constitutional law rights or whatever to file lawsuits or to press criminal charges.
Okay, my last say on this is this. If anybody can tell me what the Chicago Bulls are doing, the Chicago Bears are doing, and they get taken like that, then don't give me shit because they're bullshit. They're paying attention to little distractions rather than what they need to be paying attention to. And their circumstances late in life reflect to a great extent their shortcomings earlier in life. If anybody can tell me what the Housewives are doing, what this, that, and the other series is doing, what Game of Thrones was doing, what House of Dragons is doing, I don't give a damn what it is, then they're paying too much attention to trivia than they are to taking care of business. So maybe what the problem is if we getting bullshit politically, it's our fault because they've had a saying that has been true for this country for 200 years. You get the representation you deserve. If your reputation shit, you're shit.
So if they was
Because
watching
you're not
Judge Joe
paying
Brown
attention.
instead of studying political science, they deserve. They was watching your show instead of reading political science. They would deserve it.
That's the point. I tried to educate them rather than giving them Hollywood. If they chose to do that, yeah. But they would have been better off if they put their nose in a book instead of watching me. Yeah.
So and
That's the reality.
until the judge point, I agree with him because of the fact is that listen, the point that I'm trying to make here, if people who are actively politically active where they live at, I look at it to where they don't have problems that someone who is not active politically where they live at. It is a difference. If you are doing what you need to do where you live at, your responsibility as being part of the political process, then your problems or your issues are going to look different. If you're not doing anything, then you are going to be the ones running around here either saying you're oppressed or you just don't care. And there are a lot of people, no matter what gender or race, that are like that. They don't care. So going back to the Trump thing, because this past weekend when he was in Detroit, when I spoke to someone, basically the problem with this Black Americans for Trump coalition is they are trying to pander to the quote unquote lowest denominator of Black people. Yes, we do have a low denominator, common ghetto trash. And what they need to start doing is trying to get the businessmen and women, the professionals, the middle class and higher. You need to reach out to them to get their support because the lower class are least likely to vote. Because if they actually voted and took any type of interest in a political process, then they will probably have less issues or oppression where the fuck they live at, no matter who in the hell is in office or what color they are. So let's not do this kumbaya
all Black people are together. No, we're not a monolith, and I do not associate myself with common ghetto trash. I do not want to associate myself. If you want to run around here and say you're oppressed, I can't do business with you. I don't want to do business with you. And I do not want to sit up here and be associated with anybody from any background where our interests don't align and you don't know how to get up and organize and work together and fight. So when I say accountability, we do got to start with self, and then we got to start with our community and taking accountability. That's a fact, whether people agree with that or not. That's just
Yeah,
me.
but Dana, you remember 4 years ago when Trump was president? What did he do? He went after the young guys coming up that are going to be starting out in the world. You remember he had that big meeting? It was all over the news.
No, I don't remember that.
He had a coalition. He had the Black Coalition 4 years ago, telling all the business people, man, we need to get out there.
But okay, so rock and roll. This is the problem. 4 years ago, he did not have a Black coalition organization per se, and if he did, that shit was watered down with the Black folk who just want to shuck and drive and coon.
Dana, we were building it. I was there. Look at what I'm doing right now.
I'm not talking about.
We've been doing this for years, not just
but
me.
what I'm saying is, I don't follow. I can't relate to who the hell is that preacher from Chicago? Pastor, whatever.
His name. I know you talking about. His name is David Lowry.
No, not him.
Who?
If he is from Chicago, it's the other one. He was all up in the White House. I don't.
Daryl Scott. He's from Ohio.
Yeah, him. I don't relate to Diamond and Silk. I don't relate to a certain degree Herschel Walker. However, I could relate to the Black man that was running for presidency. He was he owned all those pizza chains. He died though. I could relate to someone like that who believed in capitalism. So again, a lot of those Black people that Trump had around him did not speak to Black America. Keep it a buck. Don't play with me. You alone, Chicago, just because you were there, that don't mean was.
No, I'm saying we were built and it was not. That's what I'm saying.
Right,
that's what
you
makes
were
this.
built, and look, and you started to build then, and look where it's at today. It's so much stronger and better. So yes, because stuff like that take time. Move you out of the equation. So I'm just pushing back against rock and roll. Trump never had a strong Black American coalition for his campaign. Now he's starting to have more of a presence with it now, but if he don't get his shit together with it and the next event he have make it better, then he's probably just going to have the 21% and then it's not going to increase because he do have to improve with that Black coalition for Trump. I want to go
hold on real quick. I'm done. You know where he coming next, right?
To Chicago.
To the city, baby. And you better trust and believe it's not going to be a cool fest.
I want to see the cheese, and I want to hear some serious hard-hitting questions. I want to hear the word reparations. I want to see you, Mark, and the people from the actual community sitting next to him on that round table. Not no pastor, whoever the fuck.
I'm the hostess. We got it. I'm telling you.
Yeah. But
it's about to crack. It's about to be everything you ever thought that you was going to have it, baby. I'm telling you, I can't play with my people.
I want the reincarnation of what was that Black convention that took place in Gary, Indiana. I want all that with Fannie Lou Hamer. Yeah.
Yes, I'm telling you, that's what I can't play with people in Chicago because however the election ends, I still live here and these still my neighbors. So when we come on this, we got to be on serious business because we don't have this type of access all the time. You will see, we on Black Chicago business. Thank you.
No, I appreciate you, Chicago. Real quick, I want to go to Brooklyn and then the Life. It's 6 people requested. I may just end up shutting it down after these.
You know what? Let me get something in here just real quick, and I'll get out your hair, Dana. People need to realize that, you know what, man, we're all Americans. I keep hearing my people, my city, my this, my that. You know what? It's everybody.
Rock and roll.
I realize, Dana, I realize that. I realize that. But you know what?
It's Black talk.
But you know what? It's all social engineering. Everybody's being socially engineered to be what they are.
Social engineering been in existence for, since the beginning of time. But we was having Black talk. It's a difference.
That was perfect timing, Dana. Some white boy slithering in. to say
Yeah,
we're
that's
all
right. You
Americans.
know what?
We're all
That's right.
Americans. Why can't we
Hey,
all get along?
hey, I
Yeah, why
I
can't we
grew
all
up
get
in the
along,
middle. I
buddy?
grew up in the
No,
middle of the
I'm not
city. I
discrediting
grew
what
up
he's
with a black
saying.
grandmother. You know what? So
No, I
where's
didn't say
my
you were,
say?
Dana.
Where's my say in this? There isn't, right? I have to shut up, right? Be a good little white boy, right? No.
No,
Yes,
you can
yes, you
speak.
should.
Well, you know what?
No,
You
he can
need to be
speak because
subservient to the Democrats and not say your part. That's what they want from you. They want you to be quiet. Go back to your
Okay, what
ghetto.
does that
that's
have to
on
do
that
with
one,
me? Because I
Brooklyn.
don't vote for anybody.
That's on that one.
Exactly. That's my point, man. Nobody has to rule for nobody, man. Like the judge said, you wake up and you go to school
Yeah,
in the
yeah, we
morning, you
can
put
get
your
them. We
book
should just all.
Wait, hold on, because we're not gonna have a back and forth. Rock and roll can say what he want, because I go up in quote unquote white spaces and I speak my goddamn mind, honey. So, and it's not about a white and black. It's just that the dialogue, and it's the dialogue we just had wasn't even black. We're talking about Chicago and we're talking about the black students and the black people because the money is being allocated away from them. So that's what I mean with black talk. But yeah, whatever type of background you are, you could come up, you could speak your mind. Don't nobody gotta be quiet or timid.
Oh yeah, he can
Shit.
say it, but I'm gonna clown it, and I'm gonna tell him that what he needs to
Well,
do.
you clown it
what
when it's
what
your
I
time to
need
talk.
to do.
Yeah,
Well,
well, it
okay.
was my
Let me
time to
ask
talk. You called
everybody.
on
Let
me.
me ask everybody.
No,
a question.
he
Let me
he
hold on.
he was
Let me
gonna
ask
say
a
something for 30
question. Let
seconds.
me ask a question. Couple of questions. If you're talking about math and you're trying to solve an engineering problem, are you going to reject the Pythagorean theorem because he wasn't black? Are you going to sit up there when somebody deals with an equation dealing with calculus that you need to resolve a situation where you're trying to build a building that you want to put an office complex in? Do you reject it because the person that came up with the algebraic situation was Arabic and not black?
This guy
Do you
right
want to
here is not
reject
advancing
something?
mathematics, Judge.
Look. Listen to everybody. The governments all over the world pay a lot of attention, a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of lives, a lot of resources to find out what the other side is doing. Never cut off information. That's a fool move. You will lose every time if you don't want to listen because you don't like the speaker. Now, listen. This is an opportunity to absorb many different positions. It does not do anybody any good to play ostrich, put your head in the sand, and say, I'm not listening to somebody because they don't look like the folk I like to be comfortable with. And some of those will get your ass dead and under the ground or in the jail.
No, to be clear,
we went overtime. 1 second, stop, Brooklyn, stop. We went overtime. So 10 seconds rock and roll, then 30 seconds Brooklyn, 30 seconds Real Queen, 30 seconds The Life, and then I'm closing it out. And I'm sorry for the people that were requesting. It's getting late and I'm getting tired. So 10 seconds.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you. All I'm saying is that yeah, unity. That's what it's about. And it's about social engineering. They're trying to make you think what you think, and you're doing it. They're trying to make me think what I think. And you know what? I ain't letting them do it. You know, take responsibility for yourself. And you know what? I got out of the city because I didn't have a damn chance. I knew that. Everybody has that opportunity, but you know what? I knew damn well growing up where I was at wasn't going to get me nowhere. So I got the hell out. It was my choice. And I believe everybody does have their own choice. And blaming somebody else for your shit, man, I don't think that's the way to go, man. That's all I got to say. Peace, people. Have a good night.
All right, you told 30 seconds, Brooklyn.
To be clear, I welcome all intelligent dialogue from anyone of any background, but we're all Americans, brother. It's not intelligent dialogue. That's just a typical white way of
Then why are you
signaling
here?
in.
Then why are you in America then?
What the hell are you talking about, man?
Can people just stay on your mic? Just go ahead, have your finish up, Brooklyn.
But you know, to be clear, there's been a lot of good dialogue in this space, and we should keep that going. We need to focus on building, and you know, the way that this all started on oppression. I just wanted to be clear that when I say that we're oppressed, it's an observation of the state of our people. It's not something to wallow in. As I said earlier, it's something that we need to build from. It's just a matter of recognizing the enemy, recognizing what's in your way so that we can then fight through it and overcome that shit and take back what's ours.
All right, thank you. Real Queen, 30 seconds.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, salute to you, Dana, Judge in Chicago, and Dr. Mark. Y'all my hitters tonight because I'm going to single out what Chicago said. She didn't come up here playing a victim, bitching. No, she talked about what's possible, what she's doing, what she's achieving. We need more of that from Black people. And a lot less bitching and complaining, and we can change things. Salute.
Thank you. Now this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna drop people down when I give you the 30 seconds, and the people that's requesting, I'll let you come up and do 30 seconds. Go ahead, the life and time.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, y'all can hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, I just wanted to say, like, because, like, the school system in, like, Washington was so much different from Atlanta. And I started to notice, like, when I started getting the politics and all that stuff, like, the people, like, most of the folks in Seattle, most of the politicians and the lobbyists, they nerds or, like, liberal white women or something. And it plays out. And then I'm looking at Fulton County, like Fannie Willis and all that. Like, she literally describes Atlanta. So, like, y'all got to up here, like, vote some people out, get some people out wherever y'all at, and change the world, I guess. I mean, change the nation. I'm done.
Thank you. And actually, I appreciate what you're doing in the school system. Listen, dealing with the school system is a headache and it's a hard job. So don't think that I'm undermining anything. It's just a lot of times we just need to cut through a lot of shit and just get down to the why and why shit is happening. All right, so 30 seconds, just Sarah.
And you know, girl, gonna take me one of that.
I know, but you're late.
I'm just gonna come for a minute. I just came to say hi to you, Dana and Judge Joe Brown. You know, I really wanted to talk about Roland Martin posting something talking about vote like a Black women, and I'm a little disturbed by that. I'm sick of the Democratic Party using Black women, grooming them to be pit bulls. When I think a large portion of this party, the Black women in this room, are conservative, so I had a problem with that. But I did want to say right quickly, Judge Joe Brown. A lot of you might be kind of young and y'all don't know Judge Joe Brown, his show, and I am a fan, and I was crazy about Judge Brown. He was not like these today judges who are very condescending and belittling and abusive power. He would speak to the litigants intelligently. He was very well spoken. Just I can't even. The words are not coming to me right now, but just dignified. And he would speak to them in a way to uplift them. If he chastised them, it was in a proper manner, and he would chastise them men about being men. And I wholeheartedly agree with you, Judge Joe Brown, when you say, if you can't have babies and educate them, why the fuck why you got your legs open for? And ownership. Okay, I'm gonna say that again and again. I am a big fan of Judge Joe Brown. There need to be more men like that. Why you having babies if you can't take care of them? And how the hell a teacher is responsible for making sure my kid can read and write and do math? That's problematic in itself. I'm a Republican. I'm a conservative. It's my responsibility to take care of my children, period. So that I came here to talk about Black women and the conservatives, but listening to that saying, oh, so-and-so don't take their kid to school not to learn, then she needs to make sure her kid is learning. Today, I'm an old broad, okay? Y'all got YouTube, okay? I used to order books online for my kids. Y'all, you can go on YouTube and teach your kid to read, to do math. So you don't have an excuse. So anyway, I really wanted to talk about Black women in the conservative party, but I know you want to go to bed, Dana. I know it's late there. And hey, Judge Joe Brown, you know I really got a bone to pick with you, Judge Joe Brown, but I'm not going to do this here in front of everybody else. I'll do it later.
All right.
Thank you, dear. Appreciate it. Much respect. Thank you.
All right, have a good one. Who was it? Clarice, and then L Hotep.
Peace and and motion to everyone in this space. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I just wanted to quickly comment about the education system and how I appreciate everything that Judge Joe said, and Dana, because it is true. It is a responsibility of the home, and he also mentioned the village. The old saying that everybody has seen: it takes a village to raise a child, and that is the truth, and that is important because those nurturing things come from that village and those loved ones that are there for their children. And with the school system, yeah, it starts at home. That was my profession. I worked in a public school system in the northeast of the country. So when there are parents that are out there advocating, that is so important. And we would encourage the parents and even tell our students, please tell your parents, because they have all of the power, especially in the district that I was in. Parents have the power. When parents did stuff, when they went to that board, things got done. They listened to the parents more than they listened to those of us in the classroom. So yes, however, it starts at home, because we wanted to work with parents. We wanted to be in community and communicating with the parents. And then you have some parents that would just drop their kids off, and we were everything. We were mother, father, teacher, doctor. We wore all hats, and it is a very strenuous thing. However, I love being an educator. Um, Something that I did before even working in the public school system. So yeah, it's true. It definitely starts at home, because you have to re-innovate and make sure your child is good. So I wanted to share that. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Um, drop down. All right, Chicago, I put you up because I think you wanted to respond to what Judge Sarah said. Oh, I did say L. Go ahead, L Hotep. 30 seconds. Can you hear me? Can anybody hear me?
Yes.
All right, go ahead, Chicago. 30 seconds. You want to
I
come
hear
up?
you.
All right.
Okay, really quickly. I'm just want to leave you with a story. My best friend in the whole wide world, her mother, my best friend. She's very educated. She's a nurse. She's married, been married, very stable, a tax-paying contribution to American society. Wonderful, wonderful woman. Her mother is a paranoid schizophrenic, and they lived in the Chicago housing projects. She was living on the 14th floor with her mama and her mama's crackhead boyfriend, and they used to have crack parties in the house. And it was just really bad for her because she was sane. So her whole life, she's been taking care of her mother. If you walk across the bridge from where they lived in the village to the other side of the bridge, which is like the now West Loop area, there's a school there called Skinner Elementary. Skinner was a selective enrollment school. She said she heard about that school. She asked her mama boyfriend, can you walk me over here so I can go take the test and go to this school? He said, okay. He walked up to the test. She said he gave her a quick lecture on fractions, told her to how to add them up real quick. She went over there, took the test, got into that school, and her entire life changed. She got more challenging work. She was given more access. She got more resources. She was around a more stable environment. Her mother never went up to the school because her mother could never go up to the school. Her mother throws stuff. She fights. She screams. When she good, but when she bad, it is horrible. You understand? And this is why, again, I say that it starts with the school, because some parents cannot. They cannot. Even if they wanted to, they cannot show up. So that's why the school has the responsibility to do what they're getting paid to do. And what they're getting paid to do is making sure that those children master that curriculum. Because I've worked in the schools as well. I've worked in alternative high schools here in the city of Chicago. My students are the soldiers of Chirac. Okay, so I know what happens in these schools, but I'm gonna leave you with this last story, then I'm off the stage for
No,
real.
no more.
No, 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 no,
I
no, no,
gotta
no,
get
no,
to
no,
the.
no.
I gotta get to the
Because the
others.
schools are not. I know, and I'm done. I'm done. I had my 30 seconds, but I'm telling you, the school's not learning. I had a student, 23 years old, did not know the word act had a T on it. She was spelling the ACK until I circled it and gave it back to her. So no, it starts with the schools.
And
Thank
she's
you.
23 years old and she couldn't spell ass.
She's slow. She's slow, but she said
So
that's what
where
she
was her
said.
parents throughout the
Her
years? Was
crack,
she
crack, crack, crack,
correct? Okay, thank
crack.
you. All right. So the parents The parents should have went in front of Judge Joe Brown so they could get locked up, and maybe they would have detoxed and got clean.
They would have went to DCFS and then had it worse as foster
Well,
children.
I think she had it worse already. She's 23 and couldn't spell ass. They don't tell her what was happening to her when she would go home at night. She probably wasn't even eating properly. A lot of times when you got crack parents and you living in a crack house, that diapers shit is sometimes safer than your own home. So that's very unfortunate. But I'm glad that she's doing better. Who else? Oh, El Hotep. Can you hear us? No. All right, let me drop you down because it's late. Who was this requesting? All right, Derek. You keep requesting and you already spoke. What? Derek, go ahead. Derek, unmute. Okay.
Finally, my time.
You spoke already, Derek. What are you talking about?
All right. So I'm going to say this, right? And I'm going to be done. What y'all don't know is Chicago Red, P. Ray, she just threw me a major alley-oop. Major. Because what she said before I got off this stage further proves what I was saying. So thank you, P. Ray, for throwing me that goddamn alley-oop at Chicago strong. I'm out.
You said all that to say that. All right, thanks. Listen, let me.
Wait a minute. What was the point of that?
I have no idea. Where's
Me
Real
either.
Queen? Where's Real Queen at? Real Queen, if you're still in the room, honey, I'm about to bring you up, and I might have you rock out. Matter of fact, you're gonna be my third co-host for the rest of this month because you just dropped a lovely donation. Is she still up here? I don't see her. April?
I do not see her.
I don't see her. Let me we about to end. Send her a message, honey. She get first dibs. She could say whatever the hell she wants.
Don't get into that. Just send her the message. Advise me.
What are you talking about?
Just FCC stuff. Don't send her. Don't
What are
say
you talking
that.
about?
Just,
No, you don't even know what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about
I
none
know
of that.
what you're talking about.
I'm not talking about none of that. No, stop. You don't know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is, if Real Queen, if you hear me, come back in the space. Are you still in the space? Come back up. And what I'm saying is, going forward, well, maybe she went to bed. What I'm saying is, oh, here she go. Let me tell you something. That was a lovely donation. I don't know what you do for a living, but you the host. You want to be the third co-host for the rest of the month of June, every Tuesday, and you gonna have everybody upset, honey. So
I think I already do.
You get the last word, and you can take your time, and you will be co-hosting with the judge next week. So go ahead, take your time.
Okay. Well, it's man up and woman up time, Black America. Okay. Like the judge said, we must form coalitions. Enough with the skin color already. It's dead weight. It's useless. It's moot. Okay. Think for yourself. Think outside the box. Okay. Achieve. Stop talking about what's not possible and talk about what you're doing, what's working, what can work. The possibilities are endless. How did we put a man on the moon? Because the scientists weren't saying no and woe is me. They were saying, let's do. Okay? How are we oppressed when the women who made that vessel that landed on the moon possible were Black women? Remember the Hidden Figures documentary? Wake up, stand up, be proud, tell the truth. We are emancipated up from slavery, not down in bondage. Build a new future tonight, tomorrow for our children. The children are important, not selfish parents, not emotionalism, not woe is me. Get out of your feelings and build. You say we built this country. Well, let's make America great again. Vote for Donald John Trump in 2024, Black America. If you really want to sock it to this vile, sick, anti-humanist, anti-life system we live in. That's what's oppressing us, not some old age yellow dog Dixiecratic white man. We are the future. We can be the future, and we can be enough for ourselves if we stand up bold and brave. The credo of American is brave, not cowardice. We can do this, Black America. We can change our decaying nation, our decaying situation, and our broken homes. But we got to want it bad. The onus is on us and no one else. And with that, I pass the mic and the torch. Salute.
Salute to you. You will be the third co-host next Tuesday and for the rest of the month of June. You sent in a lovely super chat. It says, "We are emancipated and free. Let's stop crying about the past and build a bright future. Put in the work. Vote Trump." And I agree. Capitalism is the way of this land, and I don't want it to change. This is a capital. My platform is a capitalist platform, not a socialist. Yeah. So, and I said all that to say that the example, the point that I'm trying to make with that is, and the reason why I'm saying, yeah, you be the co-host and stuff like that. You got to understand when you work together, when you pull your money together, when you pull your resource together, that is how you gain power. That's it. Money talks, bullshit walks. That's it. This is how this country is ran, how it's been running. Money talks, bullshit walks. So,
show and prove. Right. That's the solution. Build. Okay.
So April may have a heart attack for the rest of the June. I get it, honey, but yeah, but no. Thank you. Just put it in the comment section, April, because I said yes. You could have. Y'all guys could put stuff in the jumbotron. I'm not stuck on that too much anymore, and I could retweet it as well. For you, and then I'll just make sure on the next space you just put it up in the jumbotron when you come up. So if you guys want to promote anything, you can put it in and promote something that's legal, of course. You could put it in the jumbotron, and also put it in the comment section below.
How do we put stuff in the jumbotron?
It's hard for me to explain. It's whatever you tweet and you hit the side of something, and then you just tap the space, some mess like that. But I always say when you put it in the comment section, more people see it because it's there. So when people come back and read the comments, they could see it. So always put it in the comment section as well. But anyway, thank you to everybody that came up to speak. It's open mic. So, it's okay if people disagree or agree with each other. And so it's okay to argue, but just lay off the F word and just don't call each other names and stuff like that. But I think it was a good space, and I appreciate everyone. So Judge, you want to close us out? Where is he? You're muted.
I'm trying to get back to unmute. Okay, yeah, there you go. It's been interesting this evening. Only thing I'd say is intensify the discourse. That's a good thing. But get to the exchange of ideas is the important aspect of this. Don't let it get personal to you. There was a lot of animus between the people. I can understand how that develops. Feelings run high, but remember, we're only exchanging ideas, and the strength of your ideas determine determines the outcomes, not the extent of your emotive reaction. So that said, keep on pushing, keep on working at it. And I will tell you this, it's all about what you allow to be put on your plate and how much you can handle. It never goes anywhere when you start thinking that it's beyond you or it's somebody else's job to deal with what impacts you. So have a good week. I always get fascinated by the discourse. Power to the people. And remember, we all live here and we all have the same team, and we may have somebody that's doing something for us that we don't like personally, but it's okay if they're doing something for the cause. And somebody we may like personally is doing something against the cause, and that's not cool. You got to be for the cause. Anyway, that said, have a great week.
I just want
I'm
to say
out of
one more
here.
thing. I want to say thank you to my moderators on YouTube. I appreciate you guys, Catellia and Southern Belle. And, thank you to everybody that was listening on YouTube and people in the chat. So, yeah, I just want to say that. And of course, thank you, Ro Queen, for that lovely, lovely donation. And a couple of people I am going to hit in a message box. I have a couple of ideas as well. But yeah, all right. Happy Juneteenth and have a wonderful week, everybody.